And speaking knowledge just yet, we may get that at some point, especially with a team like Red playing the crypto here, as they're just trying to work out this situation. But all those teams that we saw, previously in Lava Fissure, like Straiku, etc., they're all going to have to make their moves, right?
Yeah. AMG rather, in a bit of a fight. So it's those teams on the outside, on the edge currently, that are trying to make it in. They're aware that they have to really get in deep the counter. So the teams we talked about previously, like EXO, like Ath, that have gone quite deep in the counter, they're pretty fine for them now for the time being. Over towards that side, you actually have, by the way, I believe they Valk ulted, so they're actually getting fairly deep as Red's trying to... they're actually gone back over towards the Red. They're going to go for like a really wide rotation here.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense.
Sorry guys, kasiyangan
ako. Had a really good position there. Thought, look, it'll cost us a couple of syringes. That's definitely not worth taking a fight that we don't have the advantage in. So they decide to go around. Now we're getting a look at where Straiku managed to Valk ult.
Bang prediksi lu, AE versus EVOS menang mana?
A bit of cover to hide behind, but as soon as
lu bicarain game mana, bro?
On the high ground there, they've got good position on you.
NXL's
Bang Jody mana?
Already used the dome. Have to burn through quite a decent amount here.
Wah, ini kita ketinggalan.
Looking towards
match 1 guys, santai.
In the next 30 or so seconds, a lot of damage being done. There's another squad just right next to him. Not exactly too sure who it was. We got that sort of zone coming up, but it's just ever so deeper towards the eastern side account. That's exactly where Ath are.
Okay, so looking... as long as too many teams don't start peering down over the top on them, they could be okay. You never know. Like, maybe they can just hold out long enough that there's another Valk ult in there to reposition again. Now we're looking at one of those positions where, we just saw Natsuru-sama manage to grab a down with his trusty Sentinel, and it's Evo Berserker that are trying to take the sniper v
sniper battle
team here. Charge rifle in hand for refills.
Baru Bang Jod kemana tuh nggak tahu, Hansor. Aku baru nonton ini, baru bangun aku. Sorry ya, sorry kesiangan.
Talked about the fact that Red went for this really long rotation. They've eventually
di share, di like, share apa streamingannya biar yang lain pada datang juga biar rame streamingannya.
I mean, they're in a decent enough position where they're kind of just barely, skirting around the outside. Speaking of which, as well as NXL Wolfpack on 2, who are just kind of on the edge of that.
Di sini NXL Wolfpack nomor 2 ya. Aku belum tahu sih, aku belum ngelihat lobby sih tim Indo berapa tim yang ikut pagi ini, siang ini. Selain NXL Wolfpack.
Natsuru-sama manages to grab a down on one of the Aftermath Gaming players that we were
Yang pertama cuma duo di sini.
So he is just posted up in that control room. Doesn't matter which door, which direction you are coming at him from. He is looking at you. He's got you in his sights, and you know he's going to hit the headshot. Shusty this time.
Morph could be in trouble here. I mean, Mac is down. They've already lost one. Kill on Noob is probably the
harusnya ini NXL Wolfpack. Apa ini? Kepus nih orang ini, solo ini lumayan KP. Daripada nahan di situ, fucked up, Cok. Daripada reset. Tahu nggak ya? Orang Bang Iki sama si Torik. Knock 1 ini orang. Harusnya tahu sih.
Yeah, just really can't get this risen.
You can see it's a pretty tricky position. Does have a little bit of cover.
Knock 1 Big Z, what?
Next to a crafting station as well, so we didn't get to see how much materials all of them had, but there's the potential for a respawn, but not for much longer if Ret just push in here. And yeah, look, that's going to be some pretty easy pickups there for Ret. Just use the bubble to finish out that fight. Of course, they did have the crypto ult come in just before they pushed in themselves, so nice timing there. And Red aren't done yet. They're looking for more.
Sisa solo dong, tinggal
it's going to be a little bit harder for them to get up on the high ground, of course, because they don't have They do have...
Ada Muammar, berarti
It's like
Kakoy
two to
sama
three other
NXL
squads
Wolfpack
right
di
next to
lobby
Red. I mean,
ini.
they just come in
Oke.
from the side. They're playing the edge here. Went for the long rotation, even
Berarti kita
into
tahu
or
ada dua.
outside the circle,
Berarti
rather.
sekarang kita baru tahu ada dua
So
tim
now
Indo
they're going to
yang
get past quite a few
main
different squads
di
as
siang hari
we
ini.
can see the advanced sort of circle they're landing directly
Muammar
once
jadi
again
kill
on
leader
Pat's compound. So
dan
they're
NXL
in
Wolfpack
probably the most prime
sayang
position
harus
to get a top
lobby
placement
di peringkat
currently. It's everybody else
ke-16.
that has to move in eventually. Includes Reignite, who is previously on the western side. They've started to move closer towards the north now, which has also got about 4-ish kind of teams, as finally we're down to 15.
Yeah, Rig have been doing it very slowly. They, you know, as you said, you know, obviously they lost their fantastic position.
Ayo guys yang baru join, jangan lupa dibantu like, dibantu share streamingannya biar rame kayak minggu lalu.
As you can see, there's Gibraltar ultimates going down next to them that are just gonna.
Oh my
like
god.
Beacons lighting up the players that they can try
Apis
and grab
ternok
some
ya di
kills
sini
on.
ya,
You
nggak
can
tahu
see
bisa
that
berhasil
Zero
dirasa
is
apa
doing
enggak,
that.
harusnya
They managed
bisa
to
sih.
grab a couple of frags there over onto Methods and Madness.
We just dropped another 3 squads as well. I think, you know, maybe Rit and EXO could have been one of them.
Anjir.
Evo, rather, not EXO. Evo was kind of dropped down there. And things are starting to close down really tightly now. We saw Sudaraika is still in there.
Where's
Obviously,
Kakoy?
Reignite
Oh, di sini ada
will
WGG
play in.
PK juga. Berarti ada
Great
3
shots from
tim
Red again.
Indo
Red
yang
are doing
main
a
di
decent
siang hari
amount,
ini,
just
oke?
being
Bastian
able
di
to buy themselves
finish,
back in the game from
Apis
being so
kenok
far outside
lagi,
the map
berarti
previously.
sisa Muammar yang lagi hidup
Yeah, they've
dan
done a
Apis
great
kenok.
job. Rig still have some
Apakah bisa dires di sini
ways
Apis?
to go though if they want to push out of their
Oh, udah wipe out di
fantastic
posisi
position
ke-9 di sini tim
inside the
Kakoy. Nice
house. You can
try.
see Zero actually just trying to get some info on the team that's below them. That's Primus
they're so far in the
Commander.
open. Pretty limited cover to work through here as well, as they have to really eventually
Lobbynya
kind of
pagi
push
ini
towards
benar-benar
the Athers.
lebih keras ya guys ya.
Sort of Raikou is right below
Ada Red,
Athers
ada
as well, just towards
EXO
the bottom side, and
atau tim Tom Yang Kung.
things are going to get pretty wild now in the
Terus ada
what is about to be
Kakoy,
the
ada
last
NXL
couple of
Wolfpack.
circles to the final 8 squads, and quite a few favorites, I got to say, still in here, including teams like Raikou, who didn't quite do that well last week. I mean,
Kayaknya
starting
minggu
out
ini
game one with a decent placement,
lobbynya
with the bounce back they're
lebih
exactly
hard
looking
sih
for,
daripada
but
minggu
Athos
yang
keep
lalu.
my eyes on. They are the team that had the God spot pretty much
Minggu
since
ini
the start.
di
They rolled the RNG, the zones have landed
grup A versus
perfectly
grup
on
B
top of
ini,
them. It's every other team that's
lobbynya
had to
lebih
push
keras
in.
sih daripada minggu lalu.
They have they managed to get, you know, to upgrade their weaponry is another question.
Jadi
though,
sejauh
Abel.
ini kita
Obviously
tahu
relying on the snipers when we
ada
getting
3
down
tim
to this
Indo
zone
yang main di
5 and
siang
zone
hari
6,
ini.
that
Gak ada tim
weaponry all of a
Xbox
sudden
juga.
becomes a lot less useful. They need to be able to swap that over for your Evos, your Mastiffs, your PKs. Once we get into those last sort of bubble fights. So, you know, they've managed to grab enough KP through Natsuru's Sama. You can see he's got 2 on there. He's had a lot more knocks than that. But he's,
By the way, sorry ya guys ya, aku telat. Soalnya aku kesiangan baru bangun.
You know, you can't just rely on the gas. You've got to
NXL
have the
posisi
weaponry
berapa tadi?
to back
NXL
that up.
di posisi ke-16, nggak ada poin
Firing
kayaknya.
now,
Nggak tahu
closing
mereka
in.
ada
Oh,
dapat
no.
kill point
Listen,
apa
that's gotta
enggak.
be Reignite.
Tapi
His
dari
whole
segi
time's
placement
already
mereka
come
nggak
on
dapat
out. They got
poin.
Zero down. That's unfortunate. 2 players alive. Maybe a bit of time to still get this res in and reignite. They're just so close, reaching maybe a top 5 finish.
Ayo guys yang
Yes,
baru
but you
datang,
put the
jangan
placements
lupa
up there.
dibantu
Looks like they're
like,
probably gonna get wiped here. They
bantu
were
share
just
ya,
too far
biar
out.
rame
They
kayak
couldn't
minggu
quite
lalu.
push in. Where the great position still won
Nice
the God
wingman
spot.
dari Gen
7
Burton,
teams
bangsat
left
emang.
to go. Bullets even picking up a bit of KP towards end here. So Sudaraika making themselves known. Definitely within contention currently. 7 left to go.
1
Just
HP
Burton pretty much on 1 HP here. He's taken out. 7 places where Reignite is going to land for Bull in the squad. Again, just hanging down below. Underneath an X-Spark. Some great positioning on top.
Yeah, it's a game of high ground versus low ground for a lot of these teams right now, Avril. You saw as soon as Rig took that down, they went down into low ground. It was pretty much all over. Even the one-man army, Jen Burton,
PK berhasil ngerokin ATH di sini.
managed to keep it going any longer
PK
than that.
steering flip.
X-Spark now with the high ground are just going to have free fire to choose when they want to engage on this team below. Straiku, although they've got a little bit more cover than the other
Yang
teams,
jadi
perhaps
God
the
spot
shelf
di
above
sini
them is
tuh
a little bit wider, providing them a bit more cover.
tim yang dalam rumah
They're
sih.
still going to
Well,
have to worry about this.
They're going to have to rotate, aren't they? Because they're going to have to eventually
Papa Torres
get
berhasil
towards
ngenokin
the high ground
Dylan,
inside the compound.
tapi
depending
dia
where the
kena
final
knock
circle
juga.
moves into. We saw some damage to the red. There's a couple of downs there. Salvatore as well, a lot of trouble. Fat Monster now the final one alive on X-Spark, so maybe X-Spark are not going to be long for this world.
EXO berhasil nge-wipe tim TX.
More and more squads
Siapakah yang
will be
dapat
dropping
champion
into the
di
top
game
5
pertama
now.
ini?
Things are getting pretty hefty over towards Countdown. Dex, the drops on end. Maybe looking for the final
cukup nyayur
kills.
kayaknya ya.
The conventional ref
Tim EXO di
causing
sini.
a couple of issues.
Yeah, teams struggling to even keep 3 members up here. I think we're in for a really scrappy last
Tim Indo
fight
masih
here.
hidup,
You
tim
can see
PK.
changes going
Apakah
down.
mereka berhasil
You have your
mendapatkan
core
champion
stick
di game
up is
pertama
gonna be a
ini?
really big factor in this last
Gimana
fight,
mereka?
'cause you
Gimana mereka?
know that there's just going to be the
Apakah
core
mereka
stick
dalam rumah?
grenades going down
Oh enggak, ATH yang
everywhere.
dalam rumah
Barrels
cuma berdua.
are plenty, you would imagine. The final round is closing. We'll
Bisa
have a winner
Caustic
within the
sama
next
Gibi,
120.
pintu masih belum
Nut
hancur.
says, I don't care, GNM. I don't need shotguns. I've got a charged sentinel.
Tinggal Takayan sendiri.
It doesn't matter what scope is on it. He's going to be hitting those shots. He just backs himself.
I mean, you got 4 squads there, including Primus Commander, which is a team that we didn't really pin as one of the top teams, but they made a top 5, they made a top 4. Shidoraiku still in play. Ath, obviously, with the guard spot that they've had the entire time.
Ya, lobbynya keras minggu ini.
And it's strafing Flame. I think that's going to actually be
nice try untuk tim Indo. PK harus pulang ke lobby di posisi keempat.
It's EXO, it's Ath, it's Shidoraiku. First game here with the top.
Yang full team di sini cuma tim Sutoraiku.
Got the defensive
Sisa 2
bombardment
timnya
out.
itu
Valk
duo.
ult.
Kita lihat siapa yang bakal champion.
Dive is going to try and buy some time for Straiku as EXO fight it out here. They're hoping the other 2 teams just sort it out among themselves and then they can fly into victory right at the end. But the bubbles are delaying. They're giving a little bit of time for Ath to try and work this out. Not the last one alive will go down. And Straiku, exactly as planned.
E-sport tim Sutoraiku dari Australia mendapatkan champion di game pertama.
The skies, the final circle closes, and they drop down for the win. Just let the other teams battle it out.
Nice try buat tim-tim Indo yang berhasil tryhard di game pertama.
How many teams are remaining? And first game here.
Ada tim Indo gak bang? Ada. NXL Wolfpack, PK, sama Kakoy yang main di siang hari ini.
Using those Valk ults to get themselves wrong, I would say the western
lain
side
lagi
of the map.
Keser.
I mean, they didn't have one of those initial countdown spots. Shoot that was kind of taken up by
Aduh.
entire game. We had Jem Burton in squad.
Ayo guys yang baru datang, jangan lupa dibantu like sama share ya guys. Biar rame. Ayo.
How Red kind of moved around the map and snuck in for some decent KP and some picks towards the edge.
Tim Indo total ada 5 kan ya? Iya benar, total ada 5 yang ikut di ALGS Pro League ini. Cuman yang main di siang hari ini tuh ada 3, berarti ada 2 tim Indo yang bakal main nanti sore. WGG sama satu lagi Reckless Lats berarti yang main nanti sore. Karena 3-nya udah main di
as well.
Yang ini.
I mean, they just had all of their ultimates ready because
Halo
they had
Indi.
such a defensible position. Even
Halo,
regardless of
waalaikumsalam
being on the
Daniel.
low ground,
Halo
you
semuanya.
saw how they played out.
Sorry ya guys ya, aku
layering
agak
ultimates
telat
one after the
nobarnya
other.
soalnya
Defensive
kesiangan.
bombardment down, that causes the bubbles to come out for the other 2 teams that were up the top. And the other thing to think about
Ini
which I
highlightnya
feel like
di game
people,
pertama.
don't notice as much is that you're sitting ducks when you're in a Valk ult, right? Especially in a tiny little playable area that you had there at the end. But if you put a bubble down, you can't shoot up. If you're trying
NXL
to
Wolfpack
defend
lagi
yourself
under
and the third
perform
team
banget
is
asli.
still on the ground, sometimes you might not have the positioning to actually be able to pop out of your bubble and fire at the team who are above
Bad
you.
luck
So,
aja sih guys. Karena
the
mereka
way they
di game
used that
pertama
defensive bombardment into the
berdua
Valk ult
terus
there, really smart. And,
ini
yeah,
juga
just
lobbynya
it all
hard
worked
anjing. Jadi
seamlessly
susah,
for a team who,
mau
as you
rotate
said,
susah.
struggled
Bad
last
luck aja
week.
sih kalau menurut aku.
A team that we're expecting to do really well, and they know that their backs are up against the wall. I mean, sure, we're only up to week 2, but the difference between a first place finish and coming 15th is just massive. 12 points to 1.
Alright. Kita prepare dulu, berarti kita lihat ke musuhku kambuh lagi anjing lah. Battlefy. Kita lihat dari Battlefy aja ya guys ya. Mana Pro League. Semoga ada tim Indo yang masuk final lah ya. Amin. Ini sebenarnya udah final cuy. Ini sebenarnya udah final. Tapi sistemnya dia itu sistemnya dia itu liga. Jadi lobbynya ini keempat lobbynya itu ABCD itu udah final. Lobby udah final. Mereka bakal main 6 minggu. 1 minggu itu mereka main 6 game, nah mereka harus berhasil ngumpulin poin sebanyak-banyaknya selama 6 minggu itu. Nah, nanti baru ditotalin siapa yang bakal jadi juara. Jadi sistemnya liga dia. Ini udah final. Grup A versus grup B. Let's see. Total week-nya ada berapa, Bang Yo? Ada 6. Ada 6 week. Dan 6 minggu. Berarti ini minggu kedua bisa 4 minggu lagi. Oh my god, XO berhasil menjadi peringkat pertama di game pertama walaupun tidak champion. Wah, cukup nyayur mereka. Ini berapa kill nih? 14 kill dengan placement kedua. Jadi mereka berhasil ngambil peringkat pertama di game pertama walaupun nggak champion. Karena dari kill point mereka cukup nyayur melewati orang yang champion. Yang champion Sutoraiku itu cuman berhasil dapetin 2 poin. Nice. The EXO. Kita pastiin lagi ya, guys ya. Tim Indo yang main di siang ini ada NXL Wolfpack, terus ada Kakoi, PK. Ya, benar. NXL Wolfpack, Kakoi, dan PK yang main di siang hari ini. Gila, 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 gila. Dan di leaderboard, habis game pertama itu PK ada di peringkat 6, terus disusul sama Kakoi yang ada di peringkat 8, dan NXL Wolfpack ada di peringkat 17. Masih game pertama. Game pertama. Apapun masih bisa terjadi. Masih ada 5 game lagi. Kita masih nyantai. Kita nunggu game kedua itu sekitar 5 menitan. Oke guys. Ayo guys yang belum di like dulu streamnya, dibantu share juga supaya rame kayak minggu lalu. Kakoi Bas bukan? Iya bener Daniel. Kakoi itu timnya Bas. Bagi yang mau ngedonate juga boleh dipersilakan biar supaya ngebantu aku, nge-support aku supaya aku bisa berkembang lebih baik lagi. Pokoknya dari segi apapun support kalian sangat aku hargai. Eh, 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 eh. Tim Kako itu tim Bas, tim Muammar, sama tim Apis. Aku belum nge-share streaming guys. Ya, share. Belum makan lagi. Betul baru bangun, langsung ngidupin PC anjing. What the hell, aku udah telat bangsat, bangsat. Bang, ulti crypto selain bisa cancel doom, bisa cancel apa aja. Jadi ulti crypto itu bisa ngancurin semua, cuy. Contohnya kayak generatornya Watson, ultinya Watson tuh generator Watson itu bisa dihancurin sama ulti crypto. Terus ultinya Loba juga bisa dihancurin sama ulti crypto. Barrel caustic itu bisa hancur sama ulti crypto kalau misalnya barrel caustic itu belum ngeluarin gas. Jadi waktu apa namanya? Waktu caustic yang lempar barrel, ngeluarin barrel gas caustic itu, bukan ultinya ya, bukan ulti caustic ya, tapi barrelnya itu, nah dikeluarin sama caustic dan belum ngeluarin gas di ulti sama crypto, apa? Bentar lagi, bentar lagi. Ya. Terus di ulti sama crypto, nah itu nanti barrelnya bisa hilang. Tapi kalau misalnya barrel causticnya itu udah ngeluarin gas, terus di ulti sama crypto, barrelnya nggak bakal hilang. Oh nggak main ALGS yuk, nggak lolos Ham. Lalu kan nggak lolos. Kemarin udah ikut qualifier nggak lolos. Jadi makanya nobar aja. Ya kita bikin apa namanya? Polling rate. Eh, tim tuh kan kalian L Wolfpack Kakoi. E. Konanan tumben nggak nongol lagi yo. Nggak tahu ini mereka ada di Discord tapi pada AFK cuy. Gue lihat ada Bang Willy, ada nggak bisa lihat ya. Kan ya. Tuh
Dadan,
ada Danan, ada Bang Willy, ada apa namanya? Ada
lu,
si Endo dan Bang Bagus baru datang.
Gus.
Oi,
ya,
Woi, si goblok. Enggak si bagus.
ah,
Gus,
ini Danan anjing. Halo,
di mana ya?
heeh.
Hei.
Minta dibangunin si Danan tapi enggak. Anjing belum tidur dia bangsat.
Win 1 Gus.
Nanti
Gas
ya.
mal.
Yang berapa ini?
mau masuk game 2. Game 1 tadi baru kelar.
NXL gua ada NXL.
NXL tadi cuman berdua aja, Bang Jody nggak tahu kemana, terus mereka di finish di peringkat 16.
Ya paling. Ada aja anjing.
Guys, aku sambil makan buah ya, buah sawu. Karena aku belum makan cuy, belum sarapan juga. Udah mau siang. Lapar parah anjing.
Dia yang naik Gojek dia malah muter-muter anjing. Di 2 kali perjalanan gitu.
Itu makin nambah harganya apa biasa?
Biasa aja tapi lama jadi satu jam 15 menit tadi aing anjing ke rumah Dadan kayak. Nonton siapa ya Maneo?
Apa? Apa?
Nonton siapa?
Nonton di Longshot. Sekalian nobar ini live.
Mandi dulu ah.
Nobar.
Alright guys, kita udah masuk ke game kedua. Udah main Bang Gus, game kedua Bang Gus.
You were saying that in our last game, Lava Siphon was potentially a position that was going to get contested, so keep our eyes on Lava Siphon again to see if that's going to be the case. But otherwise, quite a few of our favorites that we've sort of noted, when we say favorites, we're talking about teams that have previous success, previous records of having that success, kind of get within the top-ish kind of position. Even looking at Reignite, who I believe finished 7th place, which is, like, that's an okay finish. You know, you would love to be in the top 5, but top 7 still, it's just reasonable.
I hope you're happy,
Having a
but
look at our
don't be
crypto player.
happier.
Weh,
Getting the early
Sobat
scan
Raffi sudah
here.
kembali, Bung.
We've seen
Sampai
a lot,
rumah,
you know, some
bro.
interesting scuffles around Ghost Town.
Hampir
kabar,
mati,
bro?
ya.
April, where depending on whether the
Hmm.
beacon
Hah?
spawns there or not, you know, you will see
Apa,
some
Gus?
team from, you know, say
Hampir
guys
mati.
perhaps try
Lah
and
kenapa,
split
goblok?
over to Ghost Town just to get that
Kanan nyetir
information.
tolol.
And then you see some reactive moves
Ngantuk.
like last week. We saw Rig actually taking 2
Ngantuk
players
ini.
here early
Ngebut.
just to get the KP
Nah, apa ya?
on
Salah
the
orang
one
juga
player
sih.
from Overlook
Nyalip-nyalip
who's,
gitu.
who goes down there. So you've got kind of like Fragment, East, you
Ya,
know,
itulah,
Overlook,
Gus.
and Geyser who are all sort of vying for this one. You know, it's
Udah
not a full
dibangunin ya,
tier
tapi-
one,
Kalian
but
yang
it's
pada
sometimes
nonton
got
udah
the
pada
beacon,
Udah
saat
tidur
makan
dia,
kah?
anjing.
it's sometimes got enough loot, and sometimes, you know, it's just free KP.
Wait,
We're looking at Golden Sage.
Kenapa GS turunnya di
free cap? I'm just joking. They did
Lapa
come
Sipon?
last, though.
Where's
Not last,
Kakoy?
so I'm not trying
Kenapa
to
mereka
troll
nggak
or anything,
perang?
but Golden Sage did kind of struggle. They kind of got contested early. I'm not too sure if they were the ones in the scuffle with We Are Trash or anything like that, but looking
They
for
were the
a,
ones
Oke, itu Kakoy. Pasti
Oh.
Kakoy.
okay, well, that makes a lot more sense. Well, this time around, you know, they look to be pretty clear for the most part. Looking where the advanced zone actually is, it's not that far off Countdown again. I mean, it's
Udah,
mostly
Aryo,
towards
udah
staging
dong, Bang.
and landslide
Oke.
with a bit of the south area
Mantap.
of Countdown, but
Sorry ya, aku
we're
sambil
like sort
makan.
of roughly going back to the same-ish area. It's that northwestern side of the map again.
Belum makan aku soalnya.
Yeah, exactly.
Halo,
Well, you know,
Carlitos.
they lost the contest last time, but it looks like they're still back into it. I mean, Lava Siphons, it's a pretty
Kita lihat di
big
sini,
POI, so you can
Kakoy
definitely get looted up.
Perang
before you
melawan
have to take
GS
that
karena
initial
rumah
fight.
mereka,
It's not
rumah
like,
Kakoy
you know,
itu
you're literally, like, just dropping.
dimaling
It's like
sama
a
GS.
Mozambique fight because it's the first kind of thing you can get there. Just whatever weaponry you can pick up immediately. But you can see.
Udah habis 2 piring buat nungguin
they're
lo
up
live
against
doang
Kakoy
anjing.
here,
Ya
who've
maaf,
taken
cok.
out once already, and you
Aku
know, that
hanya
wasn't
manusia
enough for them.
biasa,
They've come
anjing.
back for more.
No one wants to be that team that
Maaf,
goes
maaf
out
ya,
first.
telat.
We'll see how they
Tapi
want
kan
to get the
setidaknya
whole turnaround. I mean,
Aku
if
tanggung
the team
jawab.
maybe gets significant enough damage, they might
Walaupun
want to go
telat,
in for the
aku
play. I mean,
tetap
this is Apex South.
buat nobar
He
ya.
kind of warned me before
Yeah,
we went
yeah,
to the
yeah.
broadcast, like, yeah, it could be a bit of action early on in our first.
Sampai
game.
jam berapa,
Those
Mas Gus?
3 squads going down
Apa?
for the first circle.
Sampai
But
jam berapa, Mana?
a couple of those squads, especially maybe
Walaupun belum
Golden
Dari
Sage,
mandi,
mana?
belum
Dari Jakarta ke
makan,
Bandung.
safer.
Hah?
muka masih muka bantal.
Will be number
Nah.
20 here.
Bukannya mana subuh ya
See how the
berangkatnya?
rest of the circles kind of go. I mean, they're already within
Jam
that
10.
first zone anyway. So
Flash.
GS.
Nggak tidur dong mana ini?
shots on a team Valkyrie.
Kayaknya di sini
Tidur,
tim
kan?
Kakoy nggak mau ngambil resiko ya, karena mereka udah nyoba buat
You can see
nge-push
they're
ini tim
up
GS,
to
tapi tim GS ini
sorting
lari-larian.
After getting their half of the loot over at Lava Siphon, team's playing a little bit safer this time, I guess. Not willing to.
Ada griefing nggak ya
wear their
ALGS
life
kali ini?
immediately.
Ini
I mean,
barusan
it's a
kita lihat tim
6-game
GS
series. You go down first with
memaling
0
rumah tim
KP
Kakoy.
in game
Dan
1.
tim Kakoy udah
Really
nyoba
don't
buat
wanna be
merangin
doing
mereka,
that in
tapi
game
mereka
2. You want
lari-larian.
to be well behind.
Cuman maling lootan dong, terus lari-larian.
Now we're having a look at
Ya udah tim
rotation.
Kakoy nggak mau ngambil
This is
resiko, terus
madness,
rotate dah.
I think Reignite have actually gotten into a bit of a fight. And we are
Udah
going
nyampe ini mana?
Battle Passku udah sampai level 110.
Oh
Nah,
anjing, baru
Tempat kan?
dikirim.
Mantap.
Dari mana sih ngirimnya?
Untung telat
Dari-
live ya, bukan telat ngangkat.
Apa?
Ngangkat apa nih?
What the
Angkat
fuck,
galon.
jauh.
I don't know. There's too many teams that are over towards where they are. You know, it's looking pretty clear for them. Just off screen as well.
Itu
we did
definisi
have
dideketin, tapi dianya nggak
Jen
mau
Burton, the squad of
dideketin.
Reignite kind of chasing away.
Lari-larian ya?
We are trash. They're gonna
Betul,
like
betul,
desperate to just like we don't want to go out early again. It's not gonna be us.
Halo Bam Bim Bum.
Yeah, exactly.
Kalian main nanti sore kan, Rel?
It'll be a little bit rough. You can see Estrel just
Tuh guys,
gassing
kita
up.
kedatangan
Yeah,
salah
and if
satu
you get a sneak
player
peek
Reckless
into that
Lads yang
mini-map,
ikut
you can
di dalam
see
ALGS Pro
that the
League.
zone is pulling a little
Bam Bim
bit
Bum.
towards
Mereka
staging
main nanti
there,
sore kayaknya.
as someone is like they're
Bareng
staging
sama
this on
WGG.
Xenomorph as they just try and
Orangnya
pull back, find some safety in this
Orang
guys,
siapa
perhaps use that to reposition and get out. That
Been chased
GB
down.
Orang
bubble,
Simexis.
yeah, exactly. They've already had to use their bubble to just try and you know, sort of delay the team behind
geli-
them and
geli kenapa,
provide
Indi?
a little bit of
Ada yang
cover in
gelitikan
that
kah?
open space as they're sliding down. As you can see, it's not going to be quite the countdown circle from last game, but it is fairly similar.
Genome, I think AMG are really trying to contest at the moment. They just completely chased in Xenomorph into the geyser.
Prediksi top 5,
One of the
top
things
5
happening
bang.
over there. So you were talking about teams hitting around guys
Prediksi
at the moment. This is looking like potentially our first squad down.
Prediksi
They both
top
wanna commit
5.
really hard into each other. I mean, AMG, they came in
Untuk
all the way from Big Mall.
grup yang ini,
Really get in there. I mean, behind as well
Exo,
is
Sutoraiku,
which Fenderly's who is a solo player. I believe I'm
Pique.
the only one in the lobby for some reason. Coming in from potential third party.
NXL,
Ratting away.
Wolfpack.
Here we go at the moment. Gas comes out, trying to defend inside. It's Saiji with
Sama Kakoi.
massive. Get the work done. He's already lost a teammate in bowling though, so that's actually going to be 2 members left remaining. They have, I believe, knocked out.
Tadi aku tengok di kill feed, NXL Wolfpack knock 1 nih.
Maybe did I hear that wrong? Did I hear the little ping? Threw me off a little bit.
Nah, we've still got
Tuh,
20 squads left
barrel
in there,
crypto,
so there's
barrel
always one of those
caustic di
members
ulti sama
up, but
crypto.
we have had, a
Mereka
handful
langsung
of
hidupin
kills
barrel ya
happen
kan,
so
karena
far. I mean,
biar
this
nggak
fight
hilang
is-
sih kena
it's
ulti
outside
crypto.
of the ring, right? They've only got a minute to sort this out before they will start taking damage. It's only zone 1, so it's not going to be
Oh.
too hard on them. But yeah, they really need to sort this out
Tim
sooner
X-Pac harus
rather than
swipe
later. And
musuh di
actually,
sini.
on the backside of this, some other teams have heard that this is going on. It's dragged on a little bit too long, and Rage Entertainment here have come in
Iya nanti Yoma kena.
try and see if they can clean
Sabar.
up, mop up some of this mess.
I mean, you got a complete disengage right now coming through.
Itu legendnya As, ultinya beneran pakai portal leverage, belum tahu dah. Itu masih leak doang, belum
the circle's about to close on
reveal skill aslinya gimana. Ntar pas sudah keluar trailernya aja pasti gimana. Itu kan masih leak.
Leaving for now, we are trashed by the way in their own little brawl. Domes have come out the entire way.
Tapi kayaknya
We
berhasil
trashed
di
another team that
revive
kinda
ya Bang
went out
Ike.
early in that first 3 teams that did lose in our first game.
Kebiasaan
Had a little
observernya
bit
yang
of a
gelut
fight
siapa,
over
yang
towards the tunnel
disrespect,
when we
yang
were looking at them getting
dispekted
chased out, they
siapa.
reignite. It looked to be
Dari
safe.
minggu lalu itu Ham. Asik
Again,
tim
another
OC
team is
aja,
down.
tim OC aja yang
Yeah, I
di.
mean, obviously a team that's not scared of getting into a fight early.
Ayo
as
guys,
they
sekali
did
lagi guys,
last
ku
game,
ingatin
despite
yang baru
having
hadir jangan
some
lupa
of the best
dibantu up
positioning
like-nya, terus
first
dibantu
pick,
share juga biar
really,
rame kayak
of,
minggu lalu.
of
Let's
any
go.
of the god spots that we saw over there at Countdown. And it was
Yang
Golden
mau ngedonate
Sage on
juga
the
boleh
other side,
dipersilakan
who
dalam
pulled
mani
back
nggak dengar cekring-cekring.
towards the vault tunnel, but looks like they're happy to just med up
aku
for the
lapar kali,
moment,
Cok.
not willing to push the matter too much.
We are strange, by the way. Actually,
Alright, guys, ya.
rotating into Estrel.
Baterai HP aku
Possibility for those two
tinggal
teams to get into a fight now as Estrel's looking
9%
pretty clean. They are
lupa
on the
ku cas
map.
tadi malam.
Nothing really look forward to. It's just
Siapa
this
ini?
one small little area we're looking at.
Ulti
Really
depan
trying to get
mata nih.
themselves out of dodge right now is we are trash. Yep, they managed to fly up into the air. They're fine. Didn't have to use an ult. Just getting out of dodge. I mean, they're playing this so safe. I believe that's like the second or third time in this game so far they've ended in a scrap with another team, but they just said nope. Again, we're playing
Udah,
for
guys, ya, aku
positioning
belum
here,
bisa
playing
baca
for
chat dulu.
placements here. We're not going to get into a fight. That's completely unnecessary for us.
Yeah,
Tapi
I mean,
mau
to
ku
be
cas
fair,
sih
Estrel
ini.
isn't
Jadi
a
aku
team
kayaknya
that we
bakal
see
baca
as
chat
sort of like, you know,
kode
a
alt tab.
powerhouse mechanical team. So I think if they can find a position early, I totally understand them. Just putting the barrels down and chilling out behind those. I mean, I feel like they're a team I see more than any other where you get to like circle forward and you're like, oh damn, these guys still have white armor. Yeah, they just really like to play it safe sometimes. If they can.
Oh ya,
find
kalian
that
udah pada
position
nonton
and not
kontenku
have
yang
to
baru
worry
belum? Yang
too
main sama
much,
owner NXL sama
and
owner
maybe just eke
Wolfpack.
out some
Udah pada
placement.
nonton belum?
I'm going to tell you what, Jim Burn on screen right now. This was someone that didn't take too long to get a red armor in our last game. We were
Baru
just
ngepost
kinda
konten
scrolling across
semalam.
the puzzle. Oh, there you go. Jen's on red. Yeah, it's expected. As purple either got picked up or got evolved into. Their position for now is actually pretty damn good. It's looking like a landslide finish. They got one of the small compounds and one of the small boxes available to play in. And, you know, unless another team really runs at them, maybe a lot of nades and stuff get thrown, they can play this one pretty safely and just kind of chill until...
Oh no, Muammar kenok sini tapi dia berhasil ngerokin juga walaupun dia udah kenok. 2v2 di sini, Red melawan Kakoi. Tapi mana spectatnya? Halo,
Yeah, trying to just, you know,
Observer.
days of game one there. You can see this
Malah
Valk
nge-spectate orang
ulting
nembak
team
burung,
taking
anjing.
quite a few tags, including one from Surasama there. Managed to find himself an extended sniper mag level 4, which you know, I don't know about you, Avril. It's always the one I'm like, oh, gold, and then you're like, oh man, it's a sniper mag. But hey,
Right.
nuts the one who sees that and is like, oh yeah, you guys got to worry now. So they are in on the
Harusnya
southern
di
side
game
of
kedua
downtown
ini
here.
NXL Wolfpack
So
udah
they'll be
udah
able to play here
bertiga
for a
ya
little bit
guys ya.
longer.
Harusnya.
Yeah, obviously it's
Keras
not
ya.
going to be the safe sort of zone 6 spot that it was last
Telat,
game, but
observer bangsat.
it'll do for now.
Red on screen as well, who have done a much better job compared to the last game in terms of already having some positioning within the circle. Obviously, they still have to fight for some positioning into landslide eventually. They got a couple of teams hot on their tails as well. We talked about Red earlier, where they were all the way back in Geyser or north of Geyser, with, I would say, still the potential to maybe gatekeep and click some KP, but they themselves are playing it super safe, right? They don't want to really go for that. And now, just kind of slamming some damage in there, looking to maybe upgrade their shields ever so slightly.
Yep, just going to spam out with the L-Star.
It was Kakoi that they were shooting at as well, yeah.
It was Kakoi.
This was Ret that decided to take it a little bit easy on that team in Geyser early on, but they are... I guess the other thing we should mention is that, Ret no longer have Roy. So as a big swap throughout the week, maybe even a little controversial, but Roy moving across from Ret to Dreamfire. And, Roy, an absolute beast of a player, so that's a big loss for Ret. As we see Aftermath just getting pinged down from range there.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 players coming through from the south right now, and actually the action's been heard by Sudoraiku, who's coming in from their western side. You're about to get 4 teams in a 4-way battle. There's a lot of third-party
Oke guys ya, kita fokus ke game dulu ya guys ya. Kita fokus
Sudoraiku is
nonton
thinking,
dulu.
you know what, we got first place, got some KP in the last game. Why don't we bolster up and collect a few more easy peasies? No problems.
Hey.
And I expect teams to go down here. I mean, we've had 19 teams alive for a reasonable amount of time now. Oh, June, Ret's even coming in. It's going to be a 5-way party. This is absolutely going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, bubble goes down for Rudine, and XY is there. You can see them getting collapsed on as Bullet is just going to push right in. They've got the bubble
Oh
only
no,
last for so
tim
much longer.
NXL
Hard to
Wolfpack
tell
harus tusun
whose
kembali
defensive
di
bombardment
posisi
that is.
ke-19.
I think it might have been
Jelek banget sih.
the other teams,
lagi,
because
Cok,
Striker
NXL.
are just going to turtle in their bubble for a little while longer while they wait for that and the grenades to pass through. You can see Aftermath, they're getting some good damage out, but JGA has gone down. In all of this mess, they're going to try and get the res off the bubble. Ooh, just saving them from yet another defensive bombardment. Every Gibraltar in existence seems to be planting the
Satu
beacon right
komplek
now.
3
And
tim.
Aftermath just say, we are out of here.
I mean, oh, dude, Aftermath, they are in so much trouble. They're like, I
Well.
thought we were in a 1v1.
What?
I thought we were just up against another squad, and suddenly it feels like
Yang
the
manggil ya?
lobby landed on their
Enggak.
heads.
Aing
At one
nyobain
point, we had
speaker,
about 5
gokil juga
teams
nih.
dropping at the same time. At least one of them are gone, because I'm only seeing pretty much
Aing nyobain
4
speaker,
out of
tapi
the end of
kecil
it. So 2
suaranya.
squads to get wiped out, probably one on
Ya
another
iyalah.
Di sini tim
I'm not too
Kakoi
sure
berhasil
how much
mendapatkan
KP
AFG.
Udah
the
ngedehin,
outside
Cok.
teams managed to sneak away at the end of it, because you had Red coming through from the eastern
Tapi
side.
mereka tetap
you
gak
had
zone ya,
Striker
guys, ya.
coming in for the western side as well. Towards the end, I even mentioned that.
Nice play dari Muammar.
The cake. And AMG as well. I mean, they might have Valcalled it away, but honestly, they've just
Diturunin.
been sandwiched between 2 teams again.
Oh, nice.
Well, we're seeing
Nice, engage yang bagus dari
AMG, yeah,
Muammar.
exactly. They're going down to Kakoi, so they
Harus naik, harus naik, harus naik.
Sebenarnya cek John tuh cuma dibutuhin tuh cuma ring 1 doang
I
aja.
think if not the most damage out of anyone in
Harusnya.
the entire region, at least last season, when he was on the Gibraltar, might be a little bit different.
Tapi kalau
now.
yang bawa
He's
crypto
switched
mah
over to
santai
that
anjing.
Valve.
Ya,
Oh,
pokoknya
ring
jangan
berapa?
maksain buat
Now, we
scan
haven't
John
much
kalau
look at
udah
so
Iya.
far.
Kalau yang bawa kripto ya paling enak mau gimana
Yeah,
juga.
this is the charge rifle, which is the perfect weapon to be tracing Valve ulting teams. Of course, being the only hit scan gun in the game.
Hot
Does help
squad
you out
in
a
the
little bit
area.
when you're trying to deal with fast-moving targets.
That's Valking team, by the way, is Sudoraiku, who have moved themselves deep within landslide, just south of Reignite. So, I mean, both of these teams looking for a pretty deep placement once more. On board the Ret so far, who are just south of Golden Sage. Our first team eliminated the last game. We're now top 15. Red have a circle
Sabar ya
closing in
guys
from
ya, aku
behind
belum bisa baca
themselves
chat
as
dulu, kita
all
fokus
eventually
ke
have to get
game
into action,
dulu.
speaking of which is gonna be
Kita
EXO.
fokus nonton dulu, nanti mungkin
So I'm gonna get a
di
little
akhir
bit
game
confused.
baru
It's
aku
gonna
bisa
Eva
baca
Berserker.
chat karena
It's set one
HP
random
gua
XV in the
mau
next.
aku cas,
We'll get
baterai
to the
udah
end of the
sekarat
Eva
cuy.
Berserker at
Jadi
the
aku nggak bisa
moment,
baca chat.
trying to get themselves out of dodge. There's a couple teams around them, but
Jadi kita
not too deep in trouble for now.
baca chat mode alt tab guys.
Golden Sage, one of the few
Kita
teams
fokus ke game
running
dulu, guys.
the Octane. Interestingly, we're not seeing that with the Bloodhound this week overall. Because last week, the only teams we saw run Octane were actually also the only teams we saw run Bloodhound. Just a little bit of
nice ulti dari Apis di sana.
Coba ngomong Gus.
Berhasil ngenokin
shake
2 orang.
there we've got.
It's that Gibby Octane Bloodhound kind of combination that they always play. I'm a little surprised that we don't see more Octane, generally speaking. It felt like it was a pretty big part of meta maybe last
Kecil
year.
banget ya.
Yeah, it's again, it's kind of like how the lobbies shift in general, right? Once you get all
Speaker
the
apa sih?
caustics in there, suddenly the
di iOS bisa
jump
clone
pad,
aplikasi
they don't
nggak sih?
really work out that well because you just
Duh,
run
nggak
straight
tahu
into
ya, nggak
gas
pakai, Gus.
you
Sorry,
know, just
dah.
trying to stim out of there.
My bad.
It's a tough time. So definitely that shift
Mendo
in the
tuh.
overall tone of these lobbies has seen some of those characters,
Itu
those
tadi bagus.
legends be a
Nanya.
little less favorable.
Di
Clone
iOS
I
apa
think
namanya?
this is going to be a committal.
Clone
You
APK
have
bisa
to
nggak?
go through GS here. Golden Sage.
APK
they're
nggak bisa lah
holding the ground,
anjing.
no longer running away. They want some KP. They know they need the points. Bubble's already been forced out. And as I say that, Golden Sage, they've given up the fight. They're actually going to entirely move up.
There's
Kalau
only
nggak
20
clear
seconds
chat
left,
gitu
right?
bisa
I
nggak?
mean, sure, they can try and go for mutually assured destruction there at the edge and make that fight happen, but it's a little tough sometimes when you got the
Red's
ring
gonna
at your
force it.
back.
Red's still running in though. That's the thing. I mean,
Be
Golden
happy,
Sage might
don't
want to move out, but
be
Red's still
happy.
behind them. They still want to take this fight. Estrel as well.
Yeah,
Real frisky inside the dome. Squad will definitely go down here for sure. The IQ3, the only player remaining here for Strawberry, and now they're eliminated. I think 12th place is where they ended up. The final couple of circles will be upon us in just a few seconds, or just a few moments rather.
Orang
Red
lagi
are down
nobar,
just one
ada yang
member. They go
konser,
up in
GG.
11, so they could not get past Golden Sage. And we talk about the fact that, yeah, okay, man, like Golden Sage, they're gonna move into a slightly safer position. Red's still gonna move into them and force that fight.
Oh no, di sini
Yeah, so
PK
Estrel
knock 1.
just taking cover inside one of these crawlers here.
Tapi
We've
berhasil
seen them be a
dikenakan
really
kembali
big
2v2 di
feature,
sini. PK melawan
with
EXO.
caustic heavy
Di kill
meta
feed,
of
halo.
late. They just provide
Tolong
such great
observer.
cover. And you know, it's either
2v1.
that or
Oh, dan
the other
berhasil
team's
di
got enough
wipe.
grenades and
Tim
you
EXO.
kinda stuffed it. It
Harusnya
kinda
di sini
only
tim
goes
PK
two
masih
ways.
hidup ya guys ya.
Oh my, wow, that was a massive Valk tactical there.
Oh, tapi di
Now
sini
they're
tim
gonna-
PK juga
they're
harus
gonna put in
harus
3
pulang ke
types of
lobby.
ordnance. We've got Valk
Di
tacticals
placement
coming from
ke-8.
everywhere.
Tapi
We've
masih
got
ada
the
tim
defensive
Kakoi. Tim
bombardment,
Kakoi masih hidup.
Arc Stars as well. That team, I'm surprised they actually managed to survive through that, because you can see they're just getting peppered from every angle.
I mean, DNZ, I would have previously have said, got a really amazing spot, plenty of high ground. They can see everything across the map. The problem is the zone has shifted a little bit further west to where Sudoraiku are, which means that DNZ are going to have to shift over.
Like I
Yes,
said-
reignite as well. They have that compound right away. Bit of a god spot. They will themselves have to now shift over towards the western side. And the teams that are kind of there first are going to be Sudoraiku. Estrel as well, who we had plenty of eyes on. They were in a few different sort of skirmishes. They are just going to be on that eastern edge. So potential for these two teams to be in a great spot. I think Bullet is maybe smell blood though. He's actually going to start moving.
Wingman-nya
south of
Gencerotan
Estrel.
nih
Currently
asu
moving.
juga.
Yeah, so a couple of those Chinese teams still left in here. A couple of the Australian teams left in there as well, with Reignite and Straiku still looking to be the victors here. I mean, we saw teams take out multiple wins per lobby in both series last week, and Straiku would be hoping to start that off with a nice
Reignite's
1-2
coming.
punch.
Reignite's coming in for the third party. They're going to get the cleanup here. I mean, you
Oh,
just
wow.
had kind of Red and you had Golden Sage.
Di streamingnya long shot skip frame-nya ada
Trying to
176.
They take each other out. Reignite will come in for the last couple of pieces there. Third
GG.
KP. Favorite kind of KP, I'm sure, for every single team out there. And we are down to the final 4 again. It's going to be Kakoi coming in from the north in a bit of a skirmish against Estrel on towards the western
Apa
side.
yang terjadi guys? Apa yang terjadi guys?
Sudoraiku
Kakoi
are
masih hidup
inside
kah?
the circle already with Reignite on the northern side. They're looking for damage
Ooh.
onto
Oh, Kakoi
Kakoi,
masih
and it
hidup,
will
nice.
be another guaranteed top finish here for Sudoraiku, who already came in first. And depending on who takes fights with who, you can definitely sneak in top 3 here.
It was such a well-timed bubble from Kakoi there. They were bullets literally about to knock one of them, but just in the nick of time, it does save them, allow them to get that reset on, get the bats off, and you can see we've got some gas damage happening over there from Bastion.
Nice
A
spray dari
beam
Muammar
there
di
coming
sini,
through
tapi
the
mereka
Aryo
kena ulti
1.
caustic.
He's going to start making
Kenock sih
real
di sini
trouble for
harusnya.
Estelle. They've only got Lenny and Shusni
Oh, enggak.
up
Nice.
now. It's the final zone.
Wah,
45
dibombardir nih
seconds
tim
until
Kakoi
it
gila.
starts moving in.
Oh, Flash Kids doesn't manage to get the heal off, so still get put up though. I mean, just getting caught into a
Let's
bunch
get
of
the res.
gas. The res does come on through. I mean, they're barely surviving. You can tell that
Knock
they just
sini
want to heal
Bastian.
up. They just want to try and
1
save
HP,
this
Bastian!
game. It's
What?
the tightest of margins here. I mean, Bastions as well, just on critical HP. There's two teams surrounding them. One towards the western side. You got Reignite on the east as well. Can't quite catch a break. The only team that's not actually in action right now is Sudoraiku on the southern side. And as I say that, they're going to get rushed in by Reignite. So Sudoraiku versus Reignite.
Harus di-push sih ini tim ini. Mereka harus perang si Kakoi sama tim kanan.
So this could be Sudoraiku if they're not careful here. Jaro as well. They were first in our last game, and maybe they will exit fourth.
Template sih
Strel
dapat
and
kill leader ya guys ya.
they're
Oh my
taking so much
god.
time up, you know, defeating each
Knock satu
other.
di
That
sini dari tim
Straiku
Kakoi.
just gets sent by Reignite without any punishment whatsoever. Reignite very happy with this, and now Estrel somehow, despite using their bubbles on cooldown, seemingly to try and help this as they go through. The final circle starts closing in, but I think the reses are going to go through with barely enough time. They're going to be taking zone damage as well as damage from Reignite here.
Koi are in a lot of trouble. They're just down to 2 members now.
Oh
Reignite looking in the perfect
nice.
position,
Tim
and they
Kakoi
will
berhasil dapat
take it
placement
out.
kedua dan tim
Reignite,
Reignite berhasil
7th
mendapatkan
place in our
champion di
first
game
game.
kedua.
Felt like it was a bit of an upsetting finish because they were really deep within
Nice try
a
buat
top
Kakoi.
placement. But they got edged out. They had to rotate into other people's positions, other teams' positions. It was Sudoraiku that had that first game. This time, though, in game number 2, Reignite with the first team. They got a prime position deep within the zone. Minimal rotations required. Played it very intelligently in terms of finding which skirmishes they could and could not take. They had that third-party battle as well, where they came in, took down the last couple members on a few teams towards the south of them. They had a really incredible timing onto Sudoraiku there as well. I'm not too sure if maybe they realized who it was, but they must have just seen another squad that wasn't quite into action and felt like this is a good position for us to move in on. And they actually took down 2 members of Sudoraiku and put Waltzu on by himself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it really mattered which team it was, right? The fact was there were 4 left. 2 of the others were fighting. And Straiku, like they usually like to do, right? They back themselves up against the end of the circle with 2 circles to go, so that they've got a lot of room to work with, so that they can make sure they've got nice and, you know, they've got a lot of space. And you saw them holding
Jadi highlight
back.
dari game
Jaro
kedua
right at
tadi.
the end. He's been brushing up on the sniper skills to you know, bring in his new Gibby pick. And despite that, Reignite just find that perfect timing where the other 2 teams are way too low health. They've got bubbles down. They don't really want anything at this point. They can only focus on each other. So Reignite use that moment to pull the trigger and get in there, and they just straight up take the 3v3 against Straiku. It just felt like Straiku weren't ready for that at all. They didn't think that, you know, maybe that was a vulnerable spot because, you know, there was so much other chaos going on.
As I say in scrims, they got turboed by another team there, which is exactly where Reignite were. They came in, saw a vulnerability, took down Sudoraiku, or at least put them into...
Let's go, kita baca chat. Game 1 siapa yang champion? Game 1 yang champion itu tim Australia, si Sudoraiku. Terus di game kedua barusan juga tim Australia juga, tim Reignite. Bang, gua baru ngikutin prosin Apex nih. Kok gua lihat kalau turnya kebanyakan di World Edge ya. Jarang gitu di Olympus atau Kings Canyon. Karena map World Edge itu map yang paling balance buat turnya cuy. Jadi semua kemarin tuh ada di mana semua para pro player tuh bikin petisi kalau misalnya mereka pengen ngetetapin buat kompetitif Apex itu mapnya cuman World Edge doang, karena World Edge itu map yang paling balance buat dimainin kompetitif. Dan itu berhasil ditanggepin sama pihak ALGS-nya, dan sampai sekarang map World Edge itu dijadiin map buat kompetitif aja. Makanya map Olympus sama map Kings Canyon itu nggak dipakai buat kompetitif karena kurang balance kalau dipakai ke kompetitif. Emang di rumah lu nggak ada roll kah buat ngecas HP? Ada, tapi cuma 1 biji buat dipakai kegosok mama aku. Jadi aku pakai cas yang di belakang. Bang kalau di rank map ini nggak dipakai ya King Canyon King Canyon terus. Lah ini kan di split kedua. Di split kedua King Canyon. Di split satu kemarin kan World Age. Pakai kok. Dia diganti-gantian cuy mapnya. Kalau rank itu split satu di World Age, nanti kadang split satu di Olympus. Ini kan di split 2 ini, di split 2 rank ini kan King Canyon kan. Berarti nah next season next season split ranknya itu pasti split pertama di Olympus. Nanti split keduanya baru di World Age lagi. Terus diganti-ganti di rotasi-rotasi kayak gitu mapnya. Danan mana mana yuk? Nggak tahu lagi pada AFK cuy. Lagi pada sibuk-sibuk sendiri. Bacot Agung bangsat. Maksudnya nggak balance gimana yuk? Nggak balance dalam arti itu kalau Kingsnya itu kan mapnya terlalu kecil cuy. Jadi susah buat orang rotasi lah, susah orang buat ibarat nge-stay di satu tempat lah dan terus juga third party-nya itu bakal kencang banget kan. Kalian udah lihat sendiri di rank aja udah kayak gitu loh. Nah, kemarin udah dipakai di kompetitif dan kurang balance buat dipakai di kompetitif kalau Kingsnya. Nah, kalau Olympus itu nggak balance-nya karena dia terlalu gede dan juga ada mobil atau Trident dibuat buat rotasi. Nah, itu yang bikin ngerubah ngerubah playstyle gameplay inilah, ngerubah playstyle gameplay kompetitif. Jadi mereka kurang suka kalau misalnya ada hal-hal yang kayak gitu dalam kompetitif. Jadi ya itulah. New rules delay 10 menit. Ya, karena ada kasus di mana tim C9 dari tim NA itu mereka coachnya bisa ngomong di tengah-tengah game dan terus dia ini juga apa namanya nge-stream sniping, stream-stream orang yang delay 5 menit gitu. Jadi ya udah di dan pada protes juga kemarin tuh player-player yang lain karena cukup bahaya bagi mereka-mereka yang bisa ibaratnya prediksi itu kuat gitu loh. Yang ibaratnya prediksinya jago jadi ya em, delay 5 menit itu nggak jadi halangan sih sebenarnya. Udah match keberapa yuk? Ini harusnya kita masuk ke match ketiga, Weng. Dan kita nunggu match ketiga itu 1 menitan lagi, Gung. BP kenapa lagi underperform bang? Selain karena tim baru. Mungkin karena tempat landing mereka yang kurang bagus sih. Karena mereka kan dulu turunnya di apa tuh di Kondon. Nah sekarang mereka turunnya digeser. Yang sedangkan digeser itu lutannya itu jelek cuy. Dan mereka nggak dapat scan zone juga. Terus mungkin karena bad luck juga, rotasi yang agak susah, makanya mereka lagi underperform kelihatannya. Siapa top satu sekarang? Top satu sekarang itu dipegang sama Ignite dengan 32 poin. Tutoraiku masih di placement kedua dengan 29 poin. XO dengan 26 poin di peringkat ketiga. Kakoi berhasil masuk ke top 5 selama 2 game dengan 22 poin. Terus kita lihat tim PK ada di tim Indo juga ada di peringkat 9 dengan 11 poin. Kita lihat di NXL Wolfpack ada di peringkat paling bawah dengan 0 poin. Masih game kedua, masih ada sisa 4 game lagi, jadi santai aja. Hasil akhir yang bakal ngejawabnya, jadi ya kita tetap dukung lah Indo Pride. Kalau pick-pick Olimpik gimana? Itu iklan goblok. Wih, kemarin ketemu Zaratus Bang di Valo Ranked. Ya, dia sekarang udah main Valo doang. Udah nggak pernah main Apex lagi. Kemarin dia sempat main Apex lagi waktu mabar sama Big Z cuma iseng doang. Kayaknya memang lagi mau fokus ke Tin Palu deh, bareng Pausan. Udah makan koyok, baru makan buah doang aku, Gung. Aduh, sorry guys ya, kita baca chat mode alt tab. Struggle parah sih. Agar parah nanti si NXL Wolfpack bukan karena apa-apa, emang slot playoff cuma 5 dari APAC slot. Ya, we don't know lah. Masih proses cuy, masih proses. Kita cuma bisa ngedukung mereka dan mereka juga pastinya udah ngasih yang terbaik kan. Udah sebat ya, udah berapa bat aku yang santai. Gue kirim sate Gojek cicak goreng. Bangsat. Ya, kita cuma bisa ngedukung mereka aja dan mereka pasti ngasih yang terbaik cuy. Itu aja. Pasti itu. The Indo Pride brother. Dan kita juga bakal ngedukung tim-tim Indo yang lain juga cuy. Karena yang ikut di ALGS Pro League ini total tim Indo yang ikut itu ada 5. Gak hanya NXL Wolfpack aja, ada Kakoy, ada Pike, ada WGG, ada Reckless Sluts. NXL Wolfpack, Kakoy, Pike, WGG, Reckless Sluts. Ada total 5 tim Indo yang ikut di ALGS Pro League. Jadi kalau bisa kita netral, dukung semua tim Indo yang ikut bertanding. Bang, kemarin kok bisa ikut scrim? Karena kemarin itu WGG playernya kurang 1. Jadi mereka minta aku ngisi slotnya buat buat apa ya? Biar karena yang satu lagi berhalangan nggak bisa main, jadi ya mereka minta aku buat gantiin. Berarti player Indonya nggak didukung yuk, meskipun bukan tim Indo. Ya tetap dukung lah player Indonya. Bebas lah, bebas. Walaupun NXL Wipack nggak bisa masuk playoff, masih ada next di sirkuit 2 dan mungkin ada tim Indo lain yang masuk playoff kayak Muammar Pique dan lain-lain. Iya bener. Karena Pro League ini kan baru Pro League Split 1 cuy. Ntar juga selesai ini ada Pro League Split 2. Udah main belum nih? Belum. Lagi ngebacot casternya. Ayo guys, yang baru datang jangan lupa dibantu up like-nya guys. Yuk di like. Kalau bisa hari ini kita tembusin 100 like guys. Dibantu share juga biar rame lagi. Dan biasanya pemenang muncul belakangan. Yoi. Pahlawan kesiangan. Telat. Canda. Ayo guys, kita tembusin 100 like hari ini guys. Let's go. Alright, kayak kita udah masuk game ketiga. Lagi nunggu kabar Mas Rio jadi masuk ke tim pro player. Wah, amin. Semoga aja dah. Doain aja. Ya guys, kita udah masuk game ketiga guys. Fokus ke game dulu. Nanti lagi baca chatnya setelah selesai game. Karena kita kalau mau baca chat harus mode alt tab.
Okay, nice. All right, just as I say it, they've worked their issues out. That's fantastic to see. We love their, being the full 60
mereka turunnya
KD
digeser.
up for grabs as well is also a good thing. Actually, I'm seeing 59 at the top. Interesting. Oh,
one other thing though.
Yep.
Let me just tell you, Golden Sage have contested Kakoy on Lava Siphon again. So there's another 2 teams there. They've kind of dodged the action. They're like, you know what, we're going to do some quick looting. Not going to get into a fight. We're not dropping out 20. We're just going to move on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kakoy seem to be right in the middle.
Apakah di sini Kakoy akan membantai tim GS?
As we saw last
Karena
time,
lutan mereka maling terus nih sama tim GS nih. Dan tim Kakoy tipikal model yang nggak suka kalau misalnya lutan mereka diambil. GS ini cukup bandel sebenarnya karena udah beberapa kali di kontes sama tim Kakoy juga mereka tetap turun di sini gitu loh, nggak mau pindah gitu. What a horrible player.
Well, just in case Golden Sage start feeling like they need to throw out some long range.
I mean,
ammo there. You can see that they've
ini didikan cacal kayak gini lah.
I mean, the Golden Sage are kind of like, you know what? The circles might actually be landing over this way. We might not go too far away from Lava Siphon. I think I did see the advanced, the beacon kind of revealing the next circle ever so slightly coming through from, I believe it was Kakoi's POV. And so, yeah, the next circle is going to be roughly covering Lava Siphon. So if you're Kakoi this time, you're feeling pretty darn good about it. They already had that kind of second place finish in the last game and a top 9 in the first as well. So in terms of consistency, they're within that top 10 pretty comfortably. Team that did quite well in their last game, surviving, and now they'll be one of the teams that have immediately got a fantastic spot in. Actually, for Golden Stage as well, because they contest in Lava Siphon, they've kind of been tagging along in that regard.
Saw a little bit of the rotation there from
Kaya di sini bakal ada early fight.
East, of course. That Lava Siphon that we just saw was previously Sorting Factory that you'll remember. So they have moved drop spots because of that shift in the POI. But now we're having a look at EXO, who these guys actually came out on top in the first game. So they picked up 23 points because I think they had something crazy like 14 kills to start off game 1 with. So just like nuts numbers coming out from these guys. And honestly, it's nice to see, right? EXO and Straiku, the two teams who are underperforming out of this lobby, really showing up today. So who knows, maybe a bit of first day nerves, something like that. But today it felt like a really high quality lobby, right? We're getting towards the end, and all of those heavy hitters, they always seem to be there in that last, sort of 5 or 8 teams before it really gets a bit dicey.
Yeah, I mean, EXO, formerly known as Tom Yum Kung, who are runner-ups from champs last season. Good to see them kind of getting up there. The placement was decent, and also the fact they got a lot of KP as well. We got M2M Method to Madness, who are rotating in very far in from the north side.
Di bawah kanan ya guys ya, lebih ke arah ke
where the circle is going to be landing. You have sort of Raikou,
ini kayak bawah sini, ke lava
too far
siphon.
away, so just going towards the tree at the moment. Teams flying in via the Valk ults. No real action. I mean, this is maybe the
udah
first
berhasil
game out
masuk
of
ke
our
next
3 so
zone.
far that we haven't had a team immediately drop out within
Last zone-nya kayaknya bakal di sini nih.
that really first circle and the
Atau
first
nggak
few
lebih
minutes
ke
of
bawahnya
gameplay.
lagi.
Some shots have been fired across the board for a few teams, but otherwise it's pretty slow going. This is a much more measured game.
Yep. It does tend to happen sometimes as you get further on in the series. Things settle down a little bit, at least towards the middle. Then maybe game 5 or 6, teams are like, oh wait, we don't have enough KP. We're worried about where we're positioned in the lobby overall, and then they start to make some rash decisions. Exactly, hit the turbo button. So look, understandable. We're seeing it play out a little bit more slowly here in game 3.
Possible skirmish between EXO and Raikou as well. So 2 of our more high-performing teams just kind of running past each other. Possibly they'll just allow each other to go as Method to Madness is still just making
Di
their
sini
way
Doom
from
MVP
the
atau
northern
Apis
side.
berhasil
They're about to
mengenalkan
hit that
Marshall OC.
more inner circle that's been
Apakah
revealed.
berhasil
Couple
mendapatkan
teams
poin
right
kill
below them
pertama?
in the southern
Dan
side as
menjadi, oh ya,
Lava
dan benar
Siphon is
dapat
starting to look pretty
poin
darn
pertama
full.
dari Kakoi, nice.
GS have taken the middle section.
Dan Marshall OC
The
sekaligus
bottom
menjadi
section
orang
and the
pertama
upside
yang keluar
that
dari
is
lobby ya
so
guys
heavily
ya.
contested though, and then Method to Madness are about to just get themselves into a bit of a frenzy in what I think is like 3 teams in front of them.
Lava Siphon, the place to be in game 3. Method to Madness, of course, an ANZ team. They were NLN last season, which you might remember started to really find their place in the top 20 teams of APAC South towards the end of the ALGS champs. Had some really good results. They've brought in Banterstorm, who you might remember was one of the top players and honestly top fraggers in the server. So it's a really big pickup, assuming he's been playing enough and is back on form. So hoping to see them do really well.
We are Trash as well as the team that have struggled our last 2 games. I think back-to-back 18th placements. So this time around, really wanted to survive as much as possible. Make sure that they're not going to be the first couple teams dropping out. They actually have a squad mate converging upon them. Pavlova is pretty close. But respecting each other's space ever so slightly. You'll notice that there are still 20 teams left, but as an update, Strawberry Jam are only down to 1 member. So you got IQ3, who's now ratting by himself, with Marshall and Jamja Senpai, who went down a little bit early and they've been eliminated.
There you go. Yeah, Pavlova pushing back out. They did catch that glimpse of We Are Trash at the top of the stairs and decided there might be a little bit of space in the back train tracks that they
Masih
can
belum ada
find.
kejadian apa-apa guys ya. Nyantai, masih pada
Didn't
nge-camp di
really want to be
rumah-rumah.
that first team to go down.
Belum ada yang main
So,
agresif
that'll
karena
be the safe play. We are trash.
zone-nya
Definitely have the
juga
better equipment and better
banyak tempat
position
coveran.
right now.
Jadi at least mungkin di
there's a couple
sampai
of-
ring ketiga atau
It's
4
interesting they're playing down the back here, I guess.
Di ring
Avril, 'cause,
ketiga lah,
sure,
ring
you can
ketiga.
definitely gatekeep
mungkin masih
teams
pada
like Pavlova
nyantai,
that are looking
ngamanin posisi dulu.
to come in through the back, especially when they've got the information that the next ring is going to be cutting off that train tracks, especially. But you've also got the two side doors to worry about, and even potentially teams popping up through that top window if they have an Octane jump pad or something like that. So playing from the low ground is a little bit risky, I would say, but a decent position to be in if they can hold it out.
Trash also have 4 KP, by the way, so despite the low placements, they've been kind of active in the kills, which will at least give them something to work with for just picking up something today. And obviously looking to pick up more. 4 placements, 20 teams still alive. About to, have ring number 2 close in a couple of minutes here.
Ayo dong,
As
expected.
teams
Buka
have to
map.
really start finding their spots. You got Ath, who are really far out. By the way, they're still just over west of Harvester, so they're a little bit more movement still to go. As there'll be a team coming in super late, I think. They're going to go for a super late rotation and being one of the last teams.
Jadi tim
to come into the
ATH
last side.
mencoba buat
Okay,
agresif
so
ya guys ya.
previous games, obviously they've found
dan
position early.
tim IQ
Doesn't
3
look like, that's the
jadi
strat
tim
they're
pertama yang
going
bakal pulang ke
for
lobby.
here with the pull down very south on the map, of course. As a team that lands in Skyhook, they're
Kraber?
going to be
it's
getting
triple.
there late. So yeah, I mean,
Octane
they'll grab a
GB
triple take.
caustic.
Interesting. They're not going to go over to Tsurasama. He's so
Interesting.
keyed in on like the Sentinel that he's like, nah, I don't need it. You can take that.
He's like Kraber or nothing, mate. I'm not taking anything less than that. It's Kraber or I'm sticking to Sentinel or whatever it is. But triple take on board now for Ath. So maybe taking the scenic route has kind of delivered them a bit of a nice weapon to get their way in. Still time to work with. I mean, they're not under pressure too much yet. Maybe they'll just let some of the other teams frag themselves out. As we were kind of talking by, I even just missed this, but one of the teams did get eliminated. I'm not too sure which one. But 19 now out of 20.
Striker watching another team bulk ult in. Oh man, just after I've talked up Jarrah's, he's brushing up on his sniper skills. Not going to hit any of those shots, but they do have position inside the ring at the moment. Those the crypto teams looking pretty happy at the moment because, man, the beacon in Lava Siphon is so exposed. We saw it hit at the start of the game, so if you remember where that was, you can imagine once you start getting, 10 teams or something around Lava Siphon, it becomes very, very tough. You've got angles from all sides that will be looking to hit you. Maybe you can commit a Gibby bubble to that, but even then, honestly, it's a bit of a risky proposition.
That is Ath that are taking the shots right now. Before they were actually getting shot by Waltzy from, a little bit further across the map. And Ath, for coming in slightly late, a team that actually managed to rotate even later than that was EXO, who took a couple of pot shots you saw there from the longbow. As Ath will just, they'll move out again and vacate, and they'll play once more super late. EXO flying in now.
Yep, well, we're seeing Pavlova in a fight with Aftermath Gaming here. So they've already lost JGA, Saiji and Bolin now up the top, hoping that they can hold this out for a little bit longer. And you can see there, Inko, Faz, Jolis, they've got down to the low ground. They don't seem to be willing to chase up into the higher stretches here. Unfortunately, that's just how Caustic works, right? They don't have their own, so they don't have that point person. We talked about this before, the chase. And despite having the 3v2 advantage, not looking to push it against Aftermath. Just one of those frustrating situations here when you don't have a Caustic on your team.
You have like 3 teams right now on this kind of northeastern side of Lava Siphon, just sharing this one compound together, even on the outskirts. There's Method to Madness trying to throw in some pot shots as well. So potentially a 4-way battle about to take place, and they will respect each other for the time being, but the map's going to get smaller. Somebody's going to have to push into somebody here. EXO invaded the space while it was, AMG who were kind of there first, taking a battle versus Pavlova. It's getting a bit messy in there as the circle starts closing in. We'll have to reveal the next one in just a hot minute as, I think they're all aware that multiple teams are around them, which just come down to who's going to end up taking a duel with who and where the third party comes from.
Yeah, you can see Pavlova, so many windows that they're struggling to keep track of all of the teams and the angles that are on them. It's going to be Pavlova. You can see Inko there. He's actually a content creator for EXO, getting taken down by his teammates outside of the game. As EXO, the Thai team here, are going to push and just completely take that space away from Pavlova.
So Pavlova are going to be out now.
Well, they've still got Vaz up.
Oh, sorry. No, absolutely correct. Us is still available, so he'll be trying to rat as much as possible. He's just chilling in the middle of the open, actually, just lava surrounding him. I mean, if there's one play that you want to live, it probably is going to be the Octane here.
Just sitting there hoping that, you know, all the other players have got their graphics turned up and he can hide behind these little lava spurts.
Is he going to go for something like, you know, recover the beacons, or recover the banners, rather?
No,
I mean,
don't think
it'll
so.
be, time is going to be quite limited, right?
He's mid-zone. There's 19 teams alive here. That would be a miracle run.
I do wonder, is the other rat alive here as well? Because IQ3 was the other one that I had my eye on. He might have gone down. I haven't checked in a while. But has resolved that a house that was probably only big enough for 2 teams ended up kicking one out.
Yeah, look, these buildings are playing out similar to the ones we see in Lava City, you know? You're seeing a lot of teams just taking the multiple levels within the buildings, and then just trying to make sure they don't peek too much and use the caustic barrels to try and hold those. So you don't have quite as much cover. It's not quite as locked down, I'd say, as, like, say, the Lava City buildings. It's a little bit easier to push, but that said, you know, I'm in the current meta with caustic. Kind of swings it back the other way a little bit.
So I think IQ3 is actually down, so they were the team that went out first. And Strawberry Jam were down only one member. He was the crypto player. He's gone. Obviously, Vast is still alive, but depending on how the ratting goes, that could be 18th place being found there for Pavlova. Hellions down to 2 as well. And I mean, a team that struggled just in terms of technical issues of getting 3 players in the lobby. Only 2 alive. Is that maybe a disconnect? Because usually I would imagine that.
Yeah, as I said, I think, yeah, I thought it was actually 2 players that loaded into the game. I could be wrong, but I think...
3. I did see 3 players load in, so maybe they possibly had a disconnect. Either that or I'm wrong, they only had 2.
Yeah, either way, they've been...
NXL berhasil mendapatkan 2 kill di sini.
We have seen some other shifts come out. You know, X-Spark with a crypto player on Belkun, as in a very aggressive.
Kayak tapi no, Bang Iki sini kena bung.
Sorry, just taking a moment to appreciate the flatline recoil control there from Chambers. One clips his hands pretty much.
I mean, you have this again, this right side area, this northeast area of Lava Siphon. And for whatever reason, Estrell wanted to try and take that position. They Valve ulted in and immediately got wiped down. More kills start to come through now as well as Chambers in and EXO, who have basically claimed
tersisa 2 player dari NXL Wolfpack yang masih hidup.
They still share it with
Busy
AMG,
dan juga
kind of around the other side. A lot of teams trying to just get in on the action. You see Waltzy there downs 2 as well.
Tapi bakal coba di-push terus sama tim EXO. Knock di sini Twizy, tersisa Big Z
sendiri.
teams
struggling as they work
out
what
di posisi
their
ke-18.
next
Nice try buat NXL Wolfpack.
The circle's going pretty much dead center. That means a lot of the teams that perhaps were hoping it pulls to one side or the other are going to suffer. I'm talking about Rats, Xenomorph currently in that situation with I kill only Noob, one of the ones left alive. But I think this next zone shift, Avril, is where we're going to see the real action start to happen.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because this position being held by EXO and AMG is so critical. That's why so many teams have tried to take it away from them. It's one of the few sort of indoor locations still available. Obviously, you know, further down the south, DNZ have a bit of a compound to themselves. And Golden Sage, they've realized their position's been compromised. They could only play mid-Lava Cypher for so long until the zone shifts, and it has shifted now. They're going to reassess how they want to move up across the map. They're going to end up running into PK, as I said, DNZ, towards the eastern side as well. So Golden Sage have some movement left to go. They've made the top 16. They were 15th place in our last game, but they're trying to improve on top of that.
Yeah, they want some placement points.
Tapi masih ada tim Kakoy dan juga tim PK masih hidup,
Actually, a
guys.
stray shot from Sama. He's going to put them down, tracing them through the bubbles. The Sentinel is charged up. See those charge shots making that distinctive sound as he pumps damage over there. Meanwhile,
Rick di sini perang melawan Red.
it's Rage having to
Berhasil mengenakan
trying to
dua.
take down
Dan Red
our
berhasil
first
wipe.
place finishers from last
Asus
week
coming.
reignite. And yeah, okay, we've got some third parties happening.
Yeah, Athens decided. I mean, they just
Tapi
saw
kayaknya
the
bakal
Reignite
kena
was taking
game-game di
battle
sini tim
against
Rick.
Red's gone
Akankah
down,
pulang ke
Reignited,
lobby juga?
eliminated them, so collected that KP, but
Ken Furton
had a
knock.
lot of time to be able to heal up, because Ath are looking for quite a bit of trouble here themselves. Maybe they can keep Reignite out. The circle's about to close in on top of Reignite. A lot of death around them as well. How many members alive is that? Maybe
Oh, di sini Muammar berhasil menekan satu dari tim GS.
Into the circle, rather outside.
Dan tim GS harus pulang dan lumayan dapat 1 poin kill lagi dari tim Kakoi.
A first place. And now getting third party by Ath, they're out in 12.
And that all started from that sniper
Bukan
shot,
zona
right?
beneran
I
di
mean,
sini kan.
situations where you think you might not be able, you might not be in danger,
Bakal
but
chaos, guys.
Mitsurasama always is a danger in this lobby. So, with a little bit of help from
Chambers.
Rage there, they go in and finish the
Hampir.
job off, and that'll be reignite out. So EXO doing pretty well so far in this lobby. Straiku actually, who had good position at the bottom of the lobby, behind some rocks where a lot of other teams, hadn't moved until they saw the last circle shift. All of a sudden, they're struggling as well
Zona
now,
beneran
not being
kesini
able to
kan?
find good positioning. We've seen, they've
Yeah.
been eliminated.
Oh no,
completely.
Kakoi versus PK. Indo
you
versus
can see
Indo.
PK not
Kakoi
doing
berhasil
too
mengenakan
well there.
satu.
Oh,
PK tersisa 2.
EK in a bit of trouble over
Oh
towards,
my god. Posisi
this
mereka
kind
nggak
of
bagus dari PK nih.
southwestern side. Again, they're on the outside
Belkun
running
mendapatkan creeper tapi
into
peluru tersisa 2.
this final circle. It's DNZ causing problems for them inside the small house, but everyone's got to move on. And you remember talking about that northeastern compound on Lava Siphon, we had like 3 or 4 different teams all trying to play for it. They have all got to abandon house now. The evictions
Nahan
have
di
come
atas
on
rumah
through,
ternyata
and it's
tim
going to be
Kakoi
Ath
ya.
after
Ciki-ciki ngambil
taking
poin
out
kill.
Reignite that have prime position
Bagus
to stop the
sekali.
next teams from coming on in.
Tapi mereka nggak
Only
zone,
9
mereka
squads
harus
left
masuk
now,
ke
so we're
zone.
into the top 10.
Mereka harus perangin orang
Point on the
bawah.
high grounds. Loba's black market is like a little bit of a beacon in itself, sort of showing the other
Miss.
teams where
Miss
they were
Universe
playing
Crabber dari
from
Belkun.
there. This is X-Spark who are playing from Lava City. And
Wingman
as I was just
Crabber.
talking about briefly before, you can see Bell switched over to Crypto, and that gave them a lot of early info that the other teams didn't have and allowed them to come
AMG
around the
versus
south
Kakoi di
side
sini.
and get
Oh, this is
fantastic
not
position.
good.
Meanwhile, you see Doom MVP here.
Doom MVP berhasil mengamankan
Just
kill
desperately
point,
trying
tapi
to
harus pulang di
finish this off
posisi
for his team, but he
ke-7.
can't do it. EXO on the top. Look at that. 4
Apakah PK
kills on
masih
the
hidup?
side of Chamber there, having another massive game, as you see. Huge damage coming out.
Yeah, but they're being third and fourth party by so many teams. DNZ moves on top of them from below, and also M2 as well from the northern side. It just feels like EXO, after eliminating 2 teams, straight away more have just gotten into this fight.
Apakah PK masih hidup atau udah pulang ke lobby juga?
X-Spark, these are the last 4 teams remaining. As I believe now EXO are down to just the 1 man.
Udah pulang ke lobby juga ya guys ya.
By himself.
Yeah, unfortunately,
X-Spark
X-Spark haven't done very well there.
X-Spark
They've taken
sini
a little
ngelawan
bit too
tim
much damage.
ATH.
And it was the 2 teams that played this
Dapat
a little
Torres
bit
satu
slower.
hit
It was
lagi.
Ath and Method to Madness that looked like they're going to be dueling it out for the win here
Knock.
in Game 3. X-Spark and EXO down to 1. Now gone.
Belkun
So
juga
it's just
sini
Fat
knock.
Monster left to try and
Tersisa
potentially be a deciding
Fat
factor in
Monster.
the battle between M2M and Ath. Saiyajin God goes down. This is the opening now for Method to Madness to try and take their first win of Pro League Split 1.
I mean, Fat Monster is trying to third party this one as well. He's ratting extremely hard. He's ratted into the top 3 here with 2 of the teammates gone down. You have Method Mathis in such a great positioning. 3 members alive, pretty healthy as well. Tsurusama and Co on towards Ath, trying to
Besar chance bagi M2
get
buat
themselves back into action.
champion di
with the
game
so
kali ini.
free, but it might not happen. And Tsurusama's so low. They could be going down in 3rd place here. Ath, who
Tapi
eliminated
tim
a
X-Pac
reignite
harus
from
pulang
this game.
dulu
Fat Monster,
ke
Ratsman,
lobby dengan placement
and a flush
ketiga.
out of
Berarti
his hiding hole
tersisa
as well.
hanya
And Method to Madness have
Terus
surely
sama
got
yang
this
solo.
in such a prime position. Again, everybody is looking healthy and strong.
Yeah, there's not
And
really
it's just
any
down
chance
to a couple
here.
left.
And Tsurusama, there's no way he's going to get a resin, so somehow going to go
Dan
from
M2
Miracle
bakal
1v3
mendapatkan
jumping
champion
on
di
their
game
head isn't going to be
ketiga.
the ticket to it. Method to Madness. The retooled ANZ roster will take out game number 3 there in what is really their first big performance during week 2 and indeed
Nice
good
try
one
buat
overall.
tim-tim Indo.
Just taking their
Kayak
fights very intelligently. I
bukan
mean, they played safely from the northern
bukan Aryo
side.
di game
They were
pertama
kind of
sampai ke game
just
ketiga.
outside the
Mungkin di game
northeastern
keempat,
lava side
5,
from
6
compound
tim
where
Indo bisa
you
mendapatkan
had at
champion.
one
We don't
point
know.
EXO, AMG, they were all in there. And Method Man said, we're not going to get into this fight. We're not going to try and invade somebody else's home right now, where 3 other teams are kind of having a bit of a scrap. They'll wait for the right moment. They end up rotating all the way to the west of where that final circle was, and they landed on top of EXO, who were just winning their own battle against 2 other teams. And then Method Man is coming for the crunch. They're coming for the collapse. They survive. They end up getting a lot of third-party kills. They come in towards the end, put a lot of damage into Ath, and the third team ended up being just a rat, right? So you have 2 full teams, 1 rat. If you can deal with Ath, you have pretty much won the game.
Alright. Klasemen sementara itu setelah game 3 kelar, klasemen pertama itu dipegang sama EXO dengan 40 poin. Regnet dengan 35 poin di klasemen kedua. Di klasemen ketiga ada Suto Raiku dengan poin 33. Keempat ada ATH, kelima ada Method yang barusan atau M2 yang barusan champion, dan keenam ada Kakoi dengan 30 poin, sama poinnya sama, masih bisa dikejar sama Kakoi. Sampai ke placement 1 pun juga masih bisa. Kalau di game keempat mereka champion dan cukup nyayur, mereka bakal dapat placement 1 ini Kakoi. Terus PK di posisi ke-10 dan juga NXL Wolfpack ada di peringkat ke-18 dengan 2 poin. Itu klasemen leaderboard sementara buat game kali ini. Ya, kita bakal nunggu game ke-4. Kita gabung sama Mendo yuk. Ini kita ada Discord cuy. Ada di Discord cuman lagi pada sibuk sendiri. Salam dari Binjai. Itu apa dah? Aku nggak tahu aja. Kok lagi pada heboh orang ngomong salam dari Binjai gitu. Ada apa ya, Bang? Bang main Apex di Steam udah berapa ribu jam? Aku nggak main di Steam cuy, aku mainnya di Origin. Tapi kalau di totalin aku main Apex itu udah sekitaran 6.000 jam. Aku kan ini sekarang pakai akun yang baru kan. Nah, akun aku yang lama itu udah sekitar 5.000 jam. Di akun yang baru ini, di akun yang Oira kemarin itu kalau nggak salah 1.000 jam lebih. Terus di akun yang baru ini sekitar baru apa ya? Baru 400 jam. Ya, total ada 6 ribuan jam gitu lah aku udah main Apex. Rekomen headset gaming yuk. Apa ya? Gak tahu sih aku, Weng. Next season bakal ada buff nerf legend kah? Pasti ada, pasti ada. Pasti ada, nggak mungkin nggak ada. Baru nyadar aku tim Dexter udah masuk EXO dan tim Lynx udah kepisah-pisah juga. Silalabang sama kawan-kawan pala dulu Lynx tim paling pantai. Tim tukang terparty ya, paling cepat kalau terparty. Ya, banyak-banyak nama-nama baru Aulia. Teratas IGL kah? Nggak tahu sih kalau itu aku. Tapi harusnya player rate itu IGL. 8 sekitar 70% lah dalam tim itu player rate atau player paling depan itu pasti IGL. Karena dia visionnya tuh lihat ke depan tuh yang duluan kan. Ada guys, saya ke kamar mandi dulu guys ya. Kita nunggu 4 menitan buat ke game keempat.
Main apa Gap? Mana Gap? Sugap?
Kenapa apa nonton?
Iya sih, sama nonton juga. Si Hal tadi nontonin APAC. Tapi nontonin si Bulet. Ah, Bulet.
Tapi kayaknya kalau lebih apa ya? Kayaknya Wolfpack itu nggak ada IGL-nya cuy, semuanya IGL. Cuman tergantung kondisinya siapa aja yang suaranya paling paling besar buat diambil keputusan gitu loh. Kayak TSM juga, TSM nggak ada IGL itu. Hal juga ngakuin TSM itu nggak ada IGL, semuanya IGL. Cuman suara yang paling besar buat ngambil keputusan itu ke Hal. Dan kadang mereka ngambil keputusan tuh sama-sama gitu. Oh, dari polling rate kita lihat di sini 95 suara, 71% di NXL Wolfpack, IK 4%, Kakoi 25%. Kayaknya rata-rata banyak nih ya fansnya dari NXL Wolfpack. Nice. Oke. Belum masuk ya guys. By the way, kayaknya aku cuman bisa nobarnya itu cuman di grup ini aja ya guys ya. Di grup selanjutnya kayak aku nggak bakal nobarin karena aku ada kerjaan mau ngerjain sesuatu juga. Jadi kayak aku bakal nobarin game di grup ini aja. Jadi kalau kalian mau nonton di apa yang grup satunya lagi main, itu ntar di apa namanya di apa ya di official casternya aja di Twitch atau enggak di streamingan orang yang lagi main. Aku harus ngerjain kerjaan juga. Makanya nggak bisa buat nobarin grup yang satunya. Kita lihat apakah udah main? Belum. Titinan tempek cansap. Cansap. Tim Indo grup nanti siapa? Ada WGG sama Reckless Lats. WGG itu timnya si Maxius, Misanthropy sama Bang Jago. Terus di Reckless Lats itu ada Bam Bim Bum, Alisius sama Galkobar. Dan itu mereka nanti mainnya abis grup yang ini main. Ya sekitaran jam 3 atau setengah 4 lah mereka main. Di sini ada nih. Ini kan grup A, grup B nih yang sekarang nih, ya kan? Nah ini nanti grup C, grup D. Jam 3-an mereka main. Habis grup ini main. Wait, Excel Wallpaper kok 20? Kan di sini mereka ke ini 18. Salah ngitung nih orang ini. Bang itu Discord-nya kok rapi banget. Discord yang mana? Discord yang mana, Max? Anak bangsat. Goblok, goblok. Alright guys, kita udah masuk ke game keempat. Let's go.
Across the day. Really exceptional performances out of most of our teams in that top 5, but that top 5, and I mean, forget the top 5, Jim, that top 15 has kind of eluded in Excel.
Hey guys, kita main.
Yeah, I mean,
nonton,
placement has
main.
eluded them.
Nonton.
Kills have eluded them.
Game
Their
keempat.
form has eluded them every
2 KP.
single game so far. I mean, without Zaratas, they just look like a completely different team this split.
And not a lot of games left to catch up, I'm afraid. I mean, they would have to have maybe 3 in a row that are doing quite well. But 2 points over the course of the day when you're halfway through, not fantastic. We are trash, by the way, as a team that are slowly making at least some sort of catch up here. They've had an 18 and 18 and an 11 with 7 kills overall. So they're kind of hanging out there. They're picking up some scraps. They're at least staying reasonably competitive. It's been a bit of an unlucky day for them. They end up in a lot of situations where perhaps they're not winning the gunfights. Maybe they're getting squeezed by a couple of teams as well.
I mean,
so we are trash, kind of looking to still improve a little bit more. They wish they were in maybe a position like Ath, who have just been so consistent today.
yeah, I mean, Ath definitely impressing us. And yeah, honestly, it's a more. We started off the day by talking about some of those teams that really impressed
Cok,
us
Skyhook
in that
kosong,
first
Cok. Lihat tuh.
week.
Cuman ATH sendiri yang turun
And
Skyhook. What
all
the
of them
hell?
are in the second half of the day, so we're gonna have to see how your
Lihat nih.
MVYs and your 404s go
Skyhook
there,
bener-bener
and whether
kosong,
they can
anjing.
keep that up. But yeah, they're definitely the ones to look for as we see. We've got a staging circle once again, very similar to a couple of the ones we saw last week that didn't favor EXO. But you've got to remember that every time we mention it, that they do have the core stick this week, which is gonna make a
Zonanya
big
bakal di
difference
staging ya guys
not
ya.
only in terms of how they play against the other teams, but if you get an early position in circle, which spots are playable, which spots you can choose from. Now they can think about trying to sit in the control room at staging, if that's where they think this circle is going to pull.
So we've had a countdown circle, a landslide. We just had in our previous game as well. Lava Siphon, and now it's looking pretty heavy in staging. So 3 out of 4 have initially landed over towards that western side of the map. So pretty good stuff overall, I would say, in terms of Circle RNG for EXO. But this time they have it pretty much directly on top of them.
Akankah ada perang
That.
early
You can tell
antara
that
Rick?
team coming in through from Thermal as well, which is going to be Raikou. They'll just have to just move in slightly towards the north and they'll be fine. PK as well, right below. They'll be in a pretty decent spot also.
You can see Rig have got a bead on a team here. Maybe this is the team from Fragment West.
Oh no!
And pushing
Perihelion.
up even further. Perihelion.
Hell berhasil mengenalkan Doom
no,
MVP di sini.
Gila juga streaming PC-nya Hal nih ya.
Down there from
PC-nya Hal nih.
The Gibraltar player has his sniper on point.
Jelas lah, Bang
today, so
Will.
that's an easy kill there.
Ya
They're
kali,
not gonna stop now.
Kaleng.
There's still another player on
Dual
the run. They wanna make sure they
3090,
secure those KP as soon as
Yang buat
possible,
gamingnya
especially
i9
leading
10.000, yang buat
straight
streamingnya
into
Ryzen
circle.
9 berapa tuh 5950.
Yeah, it's gonna be the real
Gila.
J Train who's currently playing a Loba, so it might be a bit tricky to catch up to.
Dia
especially
streamingnya
with
pakai itu tuh
lead is
CPU itu yang
really far
Ryzen.
north of landslide now, and Perihelion has been the
Kakoy
team
kayak
that-
kehilangan satu player di
Bentok
sini.
kinya kabeh.
Yeah, they've had technical issues. It's been
Apis
difficult
atau
for them
Doom
to get all
MVP
3 of their
berhasil
players into
di
lobby.
finish.
At one point, I can't remember which game. That might have
Berarti
been the
sisa
second
2
game. There was only
antara
one player out of
Muammar
3
dan juga
connected in.
Bastian yang masih
Now
hidup
they've at least
dari
got the
tim
2, but
Kakoy.
they still don't have a full squad, and straight away they're back down to 1.
Yeah, rough times for them. They're really sorting out their rat spots in this game, but it's going to be big send there. from
Bakal
Team
coba diperangin
X-Spark.
terus
They'll
kayaknya
take
sama
on
tim
Bastion.
X-Spark. Tim dari Kakoy. Tersisa Muammar sendiri berarti dari tim Kakoy.
We also have a team eliminated already as well. So, in a position now where plenty of KP has been picked up early. X-Spark have had a bit of a mixed bag today. I mean, the first game wasn't that great.
Harus
for them, really
cabut
low
di sini,
placement.
Muammar.
Second game much better. Third game, well, sorry, the other way around. First game was second place. Second game, they actually went out straight away. in
Harapannya
20th
sih jangan
placement.
sampai tusun
Third
ya
is
ini
also
tim
been
Kakoy karena
quite
mereka
ping-ponging
ada
and
di
seesawing in terms of their performance today.
peringkat 4 leaderboard sekarang.
So, looking to even things
Bakal
out with
susah
maybe
naiknya
great
nanti
performance going to
di
number 4,
next
or
game.
maybe look, maybe that seesaw just goes the other way.
We'll have to see which way the pendulum swings today. The Strawberry Jam, it's been a pretty rough start. They are sitting in 20th. They've gone out as the first squad, the second squad in 2 of the 3 games so far. And see, they're just taking advantage of the one of the squad that's gone down so far this game as they get a bit of cheeky loot off the backside there. The team that does start Skyhook
Wah,
West
Slateha
and
itu ngelut di Skyhook.
uses trials as well. They're happy to sit just inside the circle for the moment. Looks like they've spotted out another team.
Salam dari Binjai. Yo, salam dari Medan,
M2M
Gabriel.
above them currently, northern side, who have rotated from climatizers. So a long rotation. I think they went through that train tunnel as well. End up north of Skyhook, and perhaps Ath are looking to gatekeep them out of the circle. They are fully aware that Mythage Manus are there currently, our winners from our previous game, who, by the way, took out Ath for the top 1 and 2. Ath came second. So Ath are definitely thinking, yo, if we take this team down, that'd be pretty hot. And in a good position to do so, as well as they don't quite have to make any rotations. So maybe for the first time in a while since that first game when we started our countdown, Ath haven't had to move too far off.
Masih hidup di sini Muammar kayak bakal main
They
sendiri
decide
dia.
that, yeah, the rotation's probably a little
Bakal
too
solo
long to try and
di game
get one of
kali
those
ini.
early spots. So
Karena Bastian sama
As per
Apis
usual,
udah
they're just
di
gonna be
finish dan mungkin bannernya udah nggak bisa
taking their
diambil.
time to get in and hopefully finding themselves in that sort of like mid-range before they can do some damage and then push in. That does seem to be their preferred modus operandi.
PK juga di sini Don 1, Takayan San berhasil kenok.
Like to get a little bit of
Kenokan
damage,
sama
get the advantage
Phoenix.
first, and then try and capitalize on that. So they're
Tapi
not
belum
too worried
di-finish,
about,
masih
you know,
bisa
being right in the
di-res.
thick of things from the get-go. On the opposite side here is PK.
Yeah, I was gonna. Cam's on EXO for a moment. PK might be in a bit of a duel against another team at the moment. Xenomorph is right around the corner from them, so possible big skirmish happening within this circle. One lone compound to share between the 2 of them, so man, this is looking like a team will go down for
PK di sini
sure.
perang kenok 2
A
dan
lot of low health, and Mackey's
harus pulang ke lobby duluan dari
has
tim
been eliminated in 19th
Indo.
place. And PK some good KP.
Oke.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, meanwhile, they're the ones pushing the charge here. You can see the EMP coming out there from Jailun. We've got Rage here, of course. Yeah, that was just the PK team. Of course, they will be running the NOBAR. Fun to see that pick come through. But yeah, the crypto team, obviously, Rage. Entertainment Taiwan. They're currently fighting outside the zone, just trying to work their way back into the south side of Thermal, but currently being gate-kept by, it looks like Xspark.
Yeah, there's like 2 teams currently, 3 teams actually outside of zone, as Kakoya is about to have flash kids maybe dead in a second if the Valkyrie doesn't save them at this moment. But you also currently have, we were just looking at Rhett, who you'll have noticed that there's a bit of a visual bug there. It said PK, but that is indeed Rhett that we had our eyes on. Just to the west of them was Strawberry Jam, and they could have been into a bit of a fight, but both teams are just dying to get out of the outside of the zone currently to come back in.
Yep, you can see Golden Sage also on that sort of southwestern corner, watching out for Strawberry Jam as well. They've got them penned inside the building right now, so a couple of teams just looking for an exit, looking to try and get back into the zone before they work out what happens next. Luckily, the zone has pulled quite south, so once they find their way into safety there, probably won't be too hard. They might have the extra, 3 or 4 minutes.
Aku jadi penasaran timnya NXL di mana ya? Kan guys. Let's go, Kakoy. Let's go.
That's an indication, right? Like, you need to follow them. You need to think about where they're going, why they're going there, and use that information to your advantage. Because once you get to Zone 4, Zone 5, it's very rare that you'll be able to get a beacon scan unless you are that crypto team.
Maybe a little strange to me because, when I was looking over towards the NA games, not that many teams were running. The crypto seemed like more of a rare pick, but...
Harus ada kelar iklannya. Kita lihat tim Kakoy, tim... Oh, di bawah staging ternyata.
Pegang SG ya.
Wait, where's the audio?
Step di kiri ya. Tanor.
Oh, kayaknya si Big Z
Di pagar dah.
lupa
Pagar
ngidupin
arah NE.
suara in-game-nya ini dari streamnya. Kayaknya tadi dia nge-mute evaluasi mereka di tengah-tengah game atau di game sebelumnya. Terus dia lupa ngidupin suara ini ya. Suara desktop audio ya, suara in-game ya. Nice posisi dari NXL, tapi bakal hard ini. Bakal hard buat apa namanya?
Bisa.
Bakal hard mereka buat ngeholdnya di sini. At least mereka ada di tengah zone, bagus.
Reasons for that. One of them is they want that more high ground position. They don't like being locked in there, even though they do have the caustic now. And the second one, of course, is that you just don't get as many zone endings down there. It does tend to pull towards the hills in between, thermal station and staging, or maybe even up a bit north.
Oh, tapi kayaknya zone-nya lebih narik ke thermal ya. Ke choke point ini.
Potentially going to see some teams moving deep into thermal. That is, by the way, going to be
di choke point ini atau enggak di bawah ini lah zone. Tapi aku lebih yakin zone-nya bakal ending di sini.
No, if we got dropped on there, we would have lost the building. I would have been solo.
Shit happens.
It's just prediction.
Yeah. On the crate. Could be there.
There's a guy playing top rock, being a nuisance, dude. Okay.
I can't hit him.
Okay, everyone shoot at the fat guy.
I'm gonna chill and fucking watch then.
Nice. Oh, baby!
I knew it. I fucking knew it, bro.
Shut up, dude. You're terrible.
Oh no,
top
rock,
top rock.
I can't fucking shoot him.
They have to come towards us later.
I think swap. I think let Jaro bully the back.
Yes, that's what I was trying to do.
Okay, that's fine.
Can I stand on this roof?
It's almost like
Walty, this door, bottom floor, is fucked. You
might need to play the balcony. You might just need to play in the building, Jaro.
Yeah. I'm gonna play in the building. Let me play inside, Walty.
Can we? I need one more person on my building.
I'm gonna trap your bottom floor still.
All right, so that's Raikou just kind of playing in, upper north of Thermal at the moment. They can see quite a lot of teams down. There's about 4 teams. You got Estrel, you got Reignite who've entered the prey. Golden Sage is still just on the outskirts as well towards that western side. So everybody is eventually going to have to get a bit of a move on. A little bit north from there is going to be Ath, who we've currently got eyes on. They have not ended their feud with Method Madness, who again were the last 2 teams remaining in our last game. They have been kind of staring at each other ever since Skyhook, where both teams were kind of already in, a bit of a deadlock.
Yeah, well, they've got to work out how to be a little bit elastic here. As there, of course, is going to be teams trying to enter the zone from in front of Ath, but also worry about if they get, take a little bit too much damage that someone behind them, like potentially Straiku or someone else, might think it's a good time to shut them out and then take their place on the edge of the circle. Straiku, of course, very happy with that ring pull, as you heard. Bullet. The IGL there calling it correctly, and his team very happy about that one. Of course, they do start.
Kayak di si Red bakal ketemu sama Nexel Wolfpack yang bakal masih nahan di
fantastic place to play. As I said just before we actually went to them, you often get these.
Tapi nggak tahu mereka masih nahan di situ apa enggak dari Nexel Wolfpack.
So reading that correctly is going to be a big.
Oh iya, masih situ. 114.
Like Rage here.
Bakal perang kayak di sini Nexel Wolfpack.
On the low grounds here in staging, where it's a graveyard down here basically. If you get stuck down here, it is so hard.
Bakal di ulti crypto juga.
There's quite a few teams just kind of hanging out of stage.
Nexel Wolfpack harus main agresif di sini. Kisan berhasil kena 1.
Kentong is down. I think that just might be the team. As Kaiser can maybe get out alive, it's not looking too good
nice
so
try
far.
dari NXL Wolfpack.
Don't mind that this is PK up there. It's
pulang ke
definitely the
lobby
red guys.
di posisi ke-17.
So, possibility of, can there be a res? Looking pretty safe. So, Kentong might get back alive and they'll have 2.
Yeah, it's a little bit sad that the Crypto's the one who's gone down here. Might have had a chance to go for the insta-res. One of the big advantages of playing that Crypto, of course. We're seeing Chambers. Oh, man.
Chamber harus
just
hampir mati kena zone ya guys ya.
Because he's on
Satu hit lagi ya.
sliver of health, and had he taken a single tick, I think from the ring there, he would have.
Berarti di game
gone
kali ini
down,
tim Indo yang masih hidup
they do
itu
make
ada
it, pops
PK.
the med kit.
PK udah mati tadi ya?
Back working again.
Oh enggak, masih hidup ini PK. Lagi perang mereka. Berhasil ngenokin 1 dari Sharing Flame. Kenok 2. Nge-trip mereka. 2v1. Berhasil menang fight di sini PK.
Worse for wear.
Tas emas juga.
They survive out of that one. DNZ aren't going to make it any much further. DNZ have been kind of roughly top 10 edge in most of our games so far. They're going to take 5 and 5. This will be definitely their worst placement so far. They won't be too happy with it.
Mereka.
PK and DNZ were kind of in an extended duel against each other for quite some time, both just on the eastern side of where the ring was, checking each other out, posturing for positioning, as everyone from staging is now going to have to move down even further. We saw with EXO where they have to come down from the train tracks. They'll be now flying away with the Valk ultimate. We're seeing down bottom, by the way. Ret is still
sama solo
really just struggling to get the place. They got Jilin back into action. That was the play that actually went down. They recovered the banner. They got the full res in. Kaiser survived and kind of
full reset. Oh, di sini Muammar baru mati ya.
And the whole PK
pulang
squad is back
ke lobby di posisi ke-14.
Yeah, so
at least dapat 1 poin dari
has
placement.
been new addition to the team after being the coach from
Killernya
last
diambil
season,
dari
and it's just come in
PK
being, honestly,
dari tim Indo masih hidup.
pretty big pickup
Masih
for
tersisa
them,
tim
or at
Indo
least,
tuh cuma 1 PK di game kali ini.
has certainly done that better than you might expect. You see, Straiku under a bit of pressure here. They're having to use
Akankah
a
mereka
lot of
mampu
ordnance
buat
just to
champion di
try
game
and
kali ini?
keep this other team
So it's down to 1.
at bay. And you can see, wow, so much coming out here. Barrels obviously on the
Perang
bottom
badar ya guys
floor
ya di
would
sini
have
guys ya.
gone down already. You're trying to work out, is it ours, is it theirs, do we need to take it down, do we actually want that barrel up in case they do make it onto the second level here?
A lot of contention happening over towards where Sudaraika, where there's like 4 teams now. You even have PK dropping in. So many Valk teams just flying on through. By the way, EXO did get cleaned up. Golden Sage will be the one that eliminates them. So EXO getting one of their probably worst placements so far today. I'm not too sure how much KP they got, but definitely not enough compared to where they were earlier. They were still first place, so not going to be dropping down too far from that even with this placement. It seems like Sudaraika that are really gunning into save their positioning if possible. Further south from that is going to be Reignite, taking up a duel currently with the orange team, who we'll find out which one it is. Reignited down to only one member. Jim Burton is a player alive currently. Low HP, they've been eliminated. That's going to be Evo Berserker who gets them out. Just shy of the top 10 as well.
So this is fantastic news for Straiku, right? Exo, Reignite, Straiku, Ath, all up the top of the leaderboard as of the end of Game 3. And now with 2 of those going out, I feel like Ath are in a little bit of trouble.
Oh
like
no, PK harus
some
pulang
more
juga
KP
ke lobby
right
di
now.
posisi ke-10
But Straiku in that
berarti kali ini
amazing
nice try
position
buat
there
tim
on the
Indo.
north side of Thermal
Semuanya udah
Station
pulang ke lobby.
are going to be cackling with glee as they watch the kill feed and their biggest competitors go down a little bit too early in game number 4 here. We've got some teams on the top of Thermal
Bukan di game kali ini
Station
tim Indo bakal dapat champion. Masih ada 2 game lagi.
Have it for very long. 40 seconds, they're going to have to make a really rough rotation out of there. If they've got the Valk, they'll be happy. If they don't, it's going to be really tough.
Speaking of being happy, I think X-Spark are in the prime position currently. They have the circle landing on top of them directly. Got some decent ground to play through. Wraitholt's already been used here as well.
Sini berhasil
Just
bertahan.
take the time. Everyone else is going to eliminate each other. There's 9 squads left to go. Unless
Bertahan,
very
menahan
soon
di
as
choke
well. I
point.
think that was a rat being taken out. Kaiser will finally drop in. I mean, Red had tried to stay alive for so long. They were always down 1. Then they get the squad back into action. Golden Sage have made themselves into a top 8 position after struggling so much. And with a lot of teams eliminated, they, I believe, eliminated both EXO and now Red.
Giant killers. Golden Sage. It looks like in game 4 then. We're seeing
Perang Badar di sini, AMG melawan ATH.
Maybe just something under the stairs here, but every single
2 orang
time
1 HP.
tries to pull in.
Tapi kenok di sini dari AMG.
Tuto
Raikou menunggu third party.
Looking to be the ones, looking to be the executioners, and Straiku.
Mereka nggak zone dan Jaro itu 1 hit
as
lagi.
the ring closes, they lose their safety.
Bell mendapatkan kill leader di sini dengan 4 kill point.
Gone down too. Now it's just going to be Bullet. Is he going to try and go for the res,
di sini
or
Tuto Raikou bakal
is he gonna try
wipe.
and just maybe
sama
grab 1 or
tim
2 KP before he too
Diturunin,
is gone down, 'cause you can see
diturunin.
teams absolutely
5 left.
trying to
Nice,
push on
cukup
top of them.
nyayur
It'll
di
be
sini
X-Spark there with full reds that
Mereka
just
berhasil
have the
nahan
right
high ground ya.
spot. And there we go.
Tinggal
Straiku
nampung aja
down.
dan kayaknya
we
mereka
thought maybe
bisa
they were
dapat
gonna be the ones
champion
to
nih di
last
game
till
kali
the
ini.
end-game Avril and get
Let's see.
ahead
Team
of some of their
X-Spark.
competitors at the top of the leaderboard, but it looks like maybe we're just going to get the whole lobby compacted a bit after
Mereka
game
tinggal
4.
nunggu di high
It's
ground.
X-Spark again, though, who are still
Yang
in
di
a
bawah
prime
knock
position
1.
right now.
Mereka bisa dapat angle yang
Trying to
bagus
keep
nih.
themselves alive in there, but
Di
they get
ult
shot
dari
out
Bell.
from all sorts of directions. Estrell's down to only 1 member. It's Lindy.
Coba membuat nge-thirst finish,
This is
ngambil
not
kill
looking
point,
great for Estrell,
tapi
who,
bubble udah
despite getting
keluar.
the top 3, I don't know that they'll make it any further than that. It's basically a rat versus 2 squads.
Mereka benar-benar dapat zone di sini di
X-Spark,
high
they have
ground.
got this one under lock, Genome. I can't see a way for X-Spark to really lose this one right now. They have the best position possible against 2 teams that are in trouble.
90%
Yeah,
X-Spark
we can see
akan
Lenny.
dapat champion di game kali
It
ini.
doesn't look like
Mereka
he
tinggal
feels like he's
nunggu
gonna have that
aja,
much of a
nggak perlu
contribution
kemana-mana.
to the
Tinggal
end
tembak-tembak
of
aja,
this
dapat kill
game.
point.
Fat Monster has him on lock here. Nice.
Berhasil knock 1 di sini
Goes
Belkon.
down, Fat Monster
Evo.
with the boosted loader on the wingman. 11 shots out of that is a lot, especially when you're hitting headshots there. The Valk, the only one with the option really to try and zip up towards the high ground. The rest of them, you can see they're just sitting ducks here for X-Spark.
Yeah, X-Spark are going to clean this one up nice and easy. I mean, the domes are being expended right now. X-Spark are just grinning ear to ear. They know this game is theirs. There's 2 squads left now.
99%
The
X-Spark
final
bakal
members just
champion
gonna
di game
dash
kali ini.
across the lava, but I think they're going to get dropped on top of. It's just pretty much 1 guy left. That's going to be the cleanup.
GG's buat tim X-Spark mendapatkan champion di game keempat
in game
kali
number
ini.
2, a 3rd place, not 3rd game, and finally first will be theirs.
Yeah, they're a team that's, has come a long way. A couple of people coming together. You got
This
Fat
is
Monster
what
from
Team
India,
X-Spark.
Belkun, who got essentially taken out of that, what is now the Straiku roster, and moving across to join up with Salvatore as well. Almost a couple of misfits there coming together and really showing that they've got what it takes here in Game 4. That was a really impressive performance.
Gak ada yang champion Indo yo di game 3 terakhir belum ada. Dari NXL Wolfpack, dari apa namanya juga? Dari NXL Wolfpack, dari PK, dari Kakoi belum ada yang champion. Nonton di mana nih Bang? Di Twitch. Bagi yang mau nonton di apa namanya? Bagi kalian yang mau nonton di Twitch, di broadcaster officialnya langsung ke Twitch aja di Longshot. Ingat nggak sama aku, ATVD? Who are you, Gaza Al-Azmi? Tell me who are you? TX campuran kan Sibel sama Salva terus Fat dari India kan? Iya bener. This buat tim X Park. TX Indo siapa aja? TX itu Indonya ada Belkun sama Salvatores. Dan satunya si Fat Monster itu dari India. Dan mereka main di organisasi tim India. Oh, Bang Gejot, anjing. Halo, halo Bang Jot. Ah, apa kabar Bang Jot? Wah, kita kedatangan salah satu player RQ dulu nih guys ya. RQ Gejot. Gua answer lah, janganlah Bang Gejot, anjing gitu aja marah bangsat, bangsat. Apa kabar Bang Jot? Makin jago lu ya sekarang. Kayak sih Bang Jot. Biasa aja masih. Ya, at least lebih better lah dari yang lalu. Udah nggak pernah main Apex lagi kan Bang Jot? Main apa kok sekarang? Main Valo kah? Atau udah fokus real life? Baik Aryo, gimana kabarmu? Alhamdulillah sama aja Bang Jot. Gak ada yang beda. Gak ada yang berubah, sama ya. Oke guys ya, kita lihat dulu di leaderboard. Apakah udah update? Oh, dengan berhasil champion tadi, tim X-Pac berhasil menduduki placement kedua. Dan EXO masih bertahan di peringkat pertama dengan 46 poin. X-Pac 45 poin, Suto Raiku 40 poin. Big Knight 37 poin. Dan juga disusul ATH, M2, dan juga Kakoi masih ada di placement ke-7. Masih sangat bisa ngejar buat tim Kakoi. Terus disusul oleh tim PK dengan 23 poin di placement ke-9. Juga NXL Wolfpack masih bertahan di peringkat 19 dengan 2 poin. Belum bergerak sama sekali. Kita bakal nunggu 5 menit untuk game kelima. Ya, kita baca chat dulu. Nggak ada main Aryo, nggak ada temen. Nggak ada temen, si Kreda bodoh juga. Udah ngilang dia, Bang Jot. Tak kemana si Anwar bangsa tuh. Kakoi bisa yuk top 3? Bisa. Masih ada 2 game lagi. Dan juga Kakoi masih sangat bisa buat ngejar ke top 1 malahan. Bukan ke top 3 lagi. Kakoi itu 31 poin, top 1 itu 46 poin. Kalau di match ini Kakoi berhasil champion dan tim EXO atau tim X-Park ini ya bilang di placement 10 lah. Dan Kakoi dapat champion, mereka bisa ngambil placement pertama ya, cuy. Masih bisa banget, masih ada 2 game lagi. Buat buat Kakoi dan PK ngambil posisi top 3. Jadi main apa kok sekarang Bang Jot? NXL Wolfpack champion bakal gimana placementnya? NXL Wolfpack kalau champion itu kan 12 poin. Ditambah 2 berarti 14. Bakal ada di placement 14. Gak tahu tergantung kill point mereka dapatnya berapa. Kalau misalnya mereka dapat 10 kill point dan juga champion, at least mereka dapat 22 poin, tambah 2 poin, 24 poin, dan mereka bakal berhasil masuk ke top 10. At least di tingkat 8. Kalau misalnya dapat champion dan juga 10 kill point di game kelima ini. Mereka bisa langsung naik ke top 10. Ya guys ya, yang baru datang jangan lupa dibantu upload-nya teman-teman. Bantu share juga biar rame. Bagi kalian yang mau ngedonate juga boleh ngebantu aku supaya aku bisa streamnya lebih berkembang lagi. Apapun bentuk support kalian, aku sangat menghargai. Oh ya bagi yang belum tahu, di nanti next grupnya juga bakal ada tim Indo yang main, yaitu ada tim WGG dan juga tim Reckless Sluts. Tapi itu nanti aku nggak bakal live-in, nggak bakal nobar juga karena aku harus ngerjain kerjaan. Jadi kalau kalian mau nonton, kita langsung ke official casternya aja di Twitch Longshot. Harga PC lu berapa bang? Ini aku ngambilnya nyicil, makanya di milestone aku itu yang kalian lihat di bawah facecam aku sekarang tuh, aku itu belinya nyicil dan juga bundle. Kebetulan aku bisa dapat nyicil. Jadi kalau ditotalin itu harga PC aku sekitaran 32 atau 33. Udah gede anjir, kamar bersihin sendirilah. Kok lu kayak sales yuk ngomongnya? Ya kayak mana anjing, aku nggak pandai, aku cuma belajar bangsat. Aku cuma berusaha buat ngepromosiin streamku bangsat. Karena aku lihat stream tuh kalau cewek kencang kali donatnya anjing. Ya apa yang harus bisa aku lakukan? Kalau cewek rame kali nonton, donatnya juga kencang. Speknya apa bang? Speknya bisa dicek di deskripsi stream sisi push. Bisa dicek sendiri ya di apa namanya di kolom deskripsi stream. Udah aku letak di situ. Oh iya iya betul ya. Ya, ya udah makanya itu. Jadi apa anjing? Kayak aku ini apa yang harus kulakukan gitu biar kayak bisa kayak gitu juga. Cewek viewer dikit sawer kenceng. Iya makanya itu gue bilang. Aku udah udahlah nggak salah. Ayolah, cekring-cekring ya guys. Bisa bisa bisa. Kita bisa ngalahin streamer cewek guys. Gue pakai seksi lah yuk, pakai BH tambah titit up. Bangset, gak lah. Gak sebadut itu gue anjing. Live bareng pacar lu, aku nggak punya cewek cuy. Tapi aku tiap hari live sama pacarku kok, Apex Legend. Gak ada tuh gue lihat-lihat milestone gue bertambah. Nah, sabar ya guys ya, kita nunggu berapa menit lagi. Ya sekitar 1 menit lagi lah buat ke game kelima. Cowok itu kalau apa ya, streamer atau bilang pro player lah. Dia itu bakal rame streamnya itu kalau misalnya itu dia udah dapat achievement gede dan bakal dikenal udah dikenal banyak sama orang. Maka itu baru streamnya bisa rame. Itu satu. Kedua, atau enggak dia streamnya lucu atau apalah nggak tahu lah aku. Ya carilah buat naikin popularity aja. Gak lah cuy, masa cewek dimanfaatkan cuma buat nyari popularity doang. Apa ya, kadang kebanyakan kebanyakan cowok itu malas pacaran bukan karena dia itu nggak laku anjing, cuman karena dia itu kadang dia udah sadar sama kekurangannya sendiri, makanya dia nggak mau nyari pacar dulu gitu. Kayak aku ini. Kalah cuy, aku orangnya nggak sepenjilat gitu anjing. Normal-normal ya. Ada alhamdulillah, kalau nggak ada ya nggak apa-apa, nyantai. Dan nunggu game kelima ya guys ya. Masih ada 2 game lagi, masih bisa banget buat tim Indo buat naik ke atas buat minggu kali ini. Oh, sampai kita udah masuk ke game kelima guys. Let's go. Nonton di game kelima.
Sometimes, but this time
Apakah di game kali ini tim Indo mampu mendapatkan champion?
And they've got a purple armor
Let's
in
see.
the inventory before some teams have even touched down.
Aftermath as well is another team that, you know, every time we looked at them towards the middle of the game, seems like they were able to get some good positionings, but they can't quite get themselves away from the pack. I feel like Aftermath have always been able to rotate into the correct places. They get into circles, they manage to find a compound, they're able to just kind of bunker up, but teams drop on top of them, maybe they make some moves as well, and then they end up, you know, somewhere outside of even top 15. Their best game so far, AMG, I believe, has been like an 8th place. So it's not been the smoothest of days for AMG, and they would love to be able to catch up.
Yeah, we really hope it's, you know, they have the chance to do that. There's a little bit of time left. And, you know, the circle's not too bad for them in this game. Going to be moving a little bit towards the...
Wait, kenapa tim Kakoi bisa jadi lootnya di sini anjing?
World's Edge Seaboard? Lava board? I don't know, is that a word? Probably not.
If you go all the way to the edge of the map, do you reach the ocean? I've never tried. I actually don't know.
It looks kind of blue out there. I mean, it is in Kings Canyon, right? Because you'll see Nessie pop up. And,
What?
You know, I don't know if anyone's actually ever gone and done that quest where they get to, like, you know, the big Nessie comes out of the
Kenok
sea.
di sini
Is it
Muammar.
the same in lava?
Sampai bisa di
World's
res.
Edge? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I should probably use my observer privileges.
Karena
to,
Perihalian juga cuma berdua ya. Satu lagi nggak tahu kemana.
Fragment, which could be wild. I mean, you're gonna get tiered cakes over there. Just so many levels in the buildings. If that's exactly where it's gonna be, epicenter even could be fairly open. This circle really could go a bunch of different places. But it is going to be one.
The real J-Train ini siapa, Cok?
Baru
ini aku baru lihat aku namanya.
2-player lobby for Perihelion in terms of how many people on their team. So gonna have to be an interesting one to see if they can survive for a reasonable amount of time to get themselves in. Speaking of in, Reignite in a great position right at the top where they started.
Yep, doing pretty well there. We are trash in landslide. I guess they've just started rotating down through there. That's a pretty quick nip from them down at, assuming they started at countdown once again. Of course, it has been Primus Commander, you know, starting off at the vault. They're actually looks like they've got the vault key there, so it might be -1 item.
Oh,
from
kayaknya
Lord
di
Loba,
sini
who can
zonanya
start off
bakal
and nick one
kegeser
of
ya
those
guys
with the
ya.
black market.
Dan bakal menguntungkan juga bagi tim
The
NXL
reasons I
Wolfpack.
believe we see Primus
Nggak perlu kemana-mana.
Commander starting in that central location.
X-Spark as well, they're already well in the advanced areas. A lot of teams, you can see PK now moving up towards guys. I think there's something like 6 teams, maybe even 7, moving into guys. It's about to be really crowded here as the circle does move further south. It's not going to be a fragment finish or an epicenter finish. A geyser finish could be on the cards as multiple teams, including Reignite, who Valk altered into here. If I'm not mistaken, they're pretty entrenched. Rets above them. Perihelion towards their
Apakah
west.
zona bakal berakhir di
Teams
sini?
on their way.
Yeah, so as you know, the beacon scan does show it's going to be heading potentially towards the back side of Geyser. We saw quite a few of these circles, I think towards the end of like ALGS champs, but as we've seen recently, they're not, you know, they always seem to sort of head east, Avril, but recently they've been going a bit wild. You see some heading towards north, towards Ghost Town, sometimes even towards, the sort of northeastern side of Lava Siphon
M2
as well. So you can get kind of lucky, but M2M, they're struggling in the tunnel.
I mean, Ret was thinking about going down to Geyser, but they managed to find themselves into a fight with M2M, who are just down to 1 member now, low-key, very low HP. Panther Storm's gone. Knight's about to fall in just a hot second as well, which means it's going to be ratting for the rest of this game number 5 now. Our winners from just a little bit early, M2M took out game number 3, but they're going to start game number 5 at pretty critical and dire straits.
That's really rough because they were, as we were talking about, they could have got to there. They could have got to some decent placement
NXL Wolfpack
of this
sini
series, but they
menahan
really
rumah
needed
paling
2
gede
good games.
dari
This is the
Geyser.
circle we were talking about. Definitely centering in around Geyser. You can see barely anyone. It's only that rat from Loki there who's sticking up towards Ghost Town. Everyone else is going to be playing pretty much the south. It seems like Rage deciding maybe there's not quite enough space for them, so they're going to be moving out towards the edge of the tunnels. And Rig, who used to be fast rotators in here because they had Sorting Factory, but Fragment East also pretty close, but unfortunately they're not going to get their favored position. That's actually going to go the way of NXL Wolfpack, who are in the building with their backs to the edge of Geyser.
Yeah, because if you remember from our full day scoring, NXL Wolfpack is on last place right now. They are
1 point.
right at the bottom, number 20 out of 20 possible teams. Not great. They need a bit of luck. They got that going for them. Depending where the next zone lands, they might have an even better situation. They need KP, they need placement, they need just about everything, and they have a couple teams right in front of them. Nobody in the tunnel just yet, as Ret will come down from the northern side. You see X-Spark on screen currently. They are possibly going to get contested around their positioning. They're on the sort of western compound of Geyser. There's 3 teams, including sort of Raikou, who are dropping in.
Balkon sini berhasil mendapatkan kill dari EXO. Di peringkat pertama
trying to
dan
find
EXO
somewhere to play.
berhasil
Your feet
pulang ke
often
lobby.
exposed here. You
Tim
can
pertama
see
yang
how
bakal
many
pulang
other
ke lobby.
bodies litter
Wait,
the
what the fuck is that?
floor here.
Kok Gibi bawa
on
itu anjing?
Geyser,
Bawa
as
kado?
the teams that were a little bit late to the party are
Di skin
suffering.
Gibi beruang.
Suraiku on the outside
Berhasil mendapatkan
here
2 kill
of
point di sini.
Zakakoi on the inside
Balkon.
of them, and we're having a look at X-Spark. Yes?
EXO out. I think EXO might be out. I missed that. EXO may have just been eliminated in 20th place. I'll be looking for them on the map to see if we can confirm that or not, but
EXO yang menempati peringkat pertama di leaderboard berhasil tusun tanpa kill point. At least tim-tim yang di bawah kayak X-Pac ataupun Kakoi bisa naik ke atas merebut peringkat
One of
pertama.
those 4 teams that we were sort of having, keeping our eyes on Avril that needed the 2 good games to stay out on top. And yes, EXO have been eliminated in 20th spot, so a shocking start
Raikou
from
juga
them.
berada di posisi yang jelek. Kita lihat
These guys on the outside of
akankah mereka
Kakoi,
berhasil tusun
so
juga.
they're just trying to nut it out here in a really rough
1 hit lagi dari
spot.
Bullet,
There's gonna be
berhasil
teams
kenok.
like,
Dikenok
Casino
oleh
Morph
Doom MVP,
on the
tapi di
back
sini
of them
Easy Flash
eventually,
kenok
but
juga.
look at Team X-Spark has noticed that they're in a rough spot. They've already had to use their bubble, and that means they're
Team
just
X-Spark
sitting
mencoba buat
ducks.
main
Jaro
agresif.
will go down as well, and EMP on top of them. Grenades coming in, and it looks like
Tersisa
they are
1
pretty
orang,
much done for.
apakah berhasil di wipe Sutoraiku? Sutoraiku wipe di sini. Kayaknya tim-tim gede. Maksudku tim-tim gede. Tim-tim yang ada di leaderboard atas itu pada tusun semua ya, kayak EXO, Sutoraiku. Bagus nih, bagus banget nih buat tim-tim yang ada di bawah buat naik ke leaderboard.
Super fast. I mean, that could cost them. That could drop them out of that top 5 for the overall points.
Yeah, well, the only thing that's really, a bit of a salve to that mindset right now, Avril, is the fact that EXO went
kita
out
berdoa aja semoga
alongside
tim
them. And
Indo
looking at
berhasil
game
dapetin
4, there's a
champion di
chance
game
that
kali
these
ini,
other teams
guys.
don't make it there as well. Estrel, they're up in the tunnels at the moment. They've got Rage on one side of them, and then they've got Rig and NXL Wolfpack
Tim
on
EXO
the other.
dan juga
So,
tim Sutoraiku
when we have a look at where this next circle goes, they're going to be
pulang ke
safe for the
lobby
moment.
duluan.
The tunnel is going to be
Nice
in.
banget, nice.
But it's the teams up the top, really. The ones like AF that are they're going to have to worry about, who will try and bully their way through eventually.
And funny enough, Ath aren't even the slowest team here in terms of rotations. You got Evo Berserkers who are just
Kayaknya ATA di
so
sini
far
bakal
away.
main
Mind you, Loki is still
di
alive.
luar
on
zona ya
M2,
guys
who's
ya.
running out over towards Overlook,
Perang-perangin
who's staying in that
orang-orang
shuttle,
yang
trying to
ada di
fight
luar
for as much
zona yang
placement
telat
as
masuk
possible. Pretty
rotate.
happy to see EXO and Shinoraiker getting eliminated if you are Loki currently.
Tapi di sini
Might
masih
get
ada
pushed by
tim
Ath
Rick
in a hot second, so a couple of late rotators as we're
yang
starting
ada
to
di
close the door
peringkat
now
ketiga
on
leaderboard.
what kind of positionings are available. There's only a few different ways you can get into guys. You talked about the tunnels. Those are even pretty congested now.
Yeah, they must have sniffed out Loki, seen him moving around at some point, so that's why I think Ath have gone all the way over to Overlook. Unfortunately, noses aren't quite good enough today, so Loki will survive for the moment, and they'll take that sort of northeastern approach to the tunnels, the newer one that was added in, I think it was maybe Season 9 or 10. Rage now, you can see they have got that info on the next circle, and it's going to be pretty central around Geyser. So... you know, NXL, they will survive on the outskirts there for the moment, but perhaps not for all that long.
Yeah, they're going to need a really lucky zone shift to kind of stay where they are. They might get a little bit worried as game progresses on.
Kayaknya buat next zone nggak bakal bagus sih buat NXL Wolfpack, guys.
Perihelion, who obviously only got 2 players, so you know the further they can get, the better for them. Kakoi in a great place, X-Spark as well, who are winners of last game, and only 1 point behind EXO, who are out in 20th, which means you know this is where you expect the X-Spark are going to overtake in the overall standings of the day.
Yeah, it does look like those 3 main buildings are going to be the ones that are the prime position for the moment, and they're currently held by the duo of Perihelion, who surely are going to get sent upon at some point once someone realizes that. Kakoi, who we saw, you know, making life problematic from Straiku at the start. Strawberry Jam, I think, have just Valka ulted in. But Marshall, unfortunately, doesn't clear the landing strip before they get in there, and they've lost Jamjar Senpai as a result.
I mean, they just landed into everybody, and now, I mean, they can't really survive anymore.
Tim
so
dari Kakoi
Strawberry
berhasil
Jam have been
meratakan
eliminated in
tim dari
18th place
Marshall
just after
OC.
Shinoraiku. They don't have a dome available. They lost their Gibby way too quickly as soon as they landed onto the floor, onto the roof, rather.
Dapatkan kill point di sini tim Kakoi.
Southeastern-ish kind of combat. It's in the middle compound, you know, the 3
Easy Flash berhasil mengeluarkan PH and Fanlist juga di sini. Apakah berhasil di Thirst mendapatkan kill point?
That is exactly where you could
Oh fuck! What the hell is that Gibby doing?
The Xenomorph.
Panic
trying to
moment
hold their
kah?
backs. This Golden Sage put in. Push in there. They've got first blood. And I think they're just going to leave their teammate for dead there. Finickies is now a death box, and with 2 left alive, they're just going to try and find a slightly higher position. At least Mackie, with the VTOL jets, they're able to find a good little rat spot up the top. I kill only noob. Might have to fend for himself.
Speaking of rats, by the way, Loki
M2
is actually
Loki
hanging out
masih
above,
menahan di luar zona
coming
kali
in
ini.
super late. I think Loki is being... it's funny that his name is Loki. He's going to have to be Loki to get a higher placement here. He's managed to dodge away from Ath, but might not really know it. Did get a bit of a close call. A bit of a whiff of Ath coming close by, but survived, and now just playing on the outskirts. Could possibly run into Evo Berserkers a little bit later on. A team that I mentioned was rotating very slowly in, and still
sama Bel ikut main ke
not
Bang
quite
Ikut
near
Putra.
enough to guys just yet.
Ikut
They've
di
yet to
game kali
breach
ini.
the tunnel, which is being watched by Nutsuru-sama.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you've also got Saiyajin. Yeah,
Sorry ya guys ya, sekali lagi kalau misalnya aku mau baca chat kalian, aku harus alt tab dulu karena HP aku lagi aku cas. Jadi mungkin aku bakal baca chat fullnya itu nanti setelah game selesai.
His other teammates clearing out the rest of the tunnel. That's not making sure that you know, they've got the barrels down and just very slowly.
Bagi yang baru hadir juga jangan lupa dibantu up like-nya. Oh, di sini Twizy kenok oleh Zero. Apakah bisa di revive di sini Twizy, Bang Jody?
But definitely through the next. So
harusnya
they're
bisa.
kind of trying to decide right now, Avril. Should they, you know, try and gatekeep Evo, or is that going to be a problem if they hear the shots coming through the tunnel? You know, Rage might just come up right behind them and sandwich them.
I mean,
ayo guys, yang baru datang jangan lupa dibantu up like-nya guys, dibantu share juga supaya streamnya rame. Bagi yang belum subscribe, tolong di subscribe dulu ya.
Obviously want to come through from the north, and it's just Ath directly into the middle of 3 teams that could all collapse on top of them. As soon as one of them smells blood, you're hungry for the KP, you're hungry for the third partying, and Ath, they're the ones that might end up copying the shorter end of that stick if they're not too careful.
Yeah, and considering how the tunnels play out, you know, we're getting another beacon scan here as we see the crypto player just in range.
10 tim in the area.
Out in Ghost Town, and then he's gonna probably recall the drone to have that ready to,
look at that
to
circle.
sick the EMP on Ath, because in those tunnels, it's going to be hard. Like, you could sit the drone where they cannot touch it behind a wall and still probably execute the EMP on the Mavril. As you said, we got to look at the next circle there.
Oh my god.
With that crypto drone,
Zona-
and it's those three teams that we talked about.
Ternyata bakal
It's
di
X-Spark,
sekitaran sini.
it's Kakoi, and it's Perihelion in the two banana
Wait,
buildings.
what the
and
hell?
The most southern building there, that have prime position. But currently,
What is
X-Spark
We Are
having
Trash
to take
doing?
on We Are Trash, who are getting absolutely demolished.
Tim X-Spark
X-Spark
di sini
deal with
berhasil
them really
mendapatkan
quickly,
kill
and that
point
was
lagi.
very important because there were other
Free
teams
kill
looking
buat
to
Tim
third
X-Spark.
party that. Aftermath Gaming, we saw Xenomorph ready to try and take that building because it's really, really prime real estate.
You
Gila,
actually
zonanya
had something
bakal di
really
sini,
interesting,
guys.
by the way, that I saw off screen.
Pas di
is,
depan rumah
Cuckoo, the
Kakoy.
Valk player from Golden Sage.
Pas di depan
solo
rumah
Valk
Kakoy.
ult
Oh, enggak,
into
anjing,
the
di sini.
compounds of Geyser, just to have a look at where everybody was, because they saw the mistake coming through from We Are Trash, who did not clear
Aman sih harusnya
all that
Kakoy.
area
Harusnya
properly.
aman
They
sih.
land directly onto X-Spark, and they say, thank you for the free KP, we're going to take that. We're going to
Twizy
send that
sini berhasil
directly
mengenalkan
into
tim dari
pushing
Evo.
us into
Apakah
most
berhasil
likely
di
first
Thirst
place
buat
now.
mendapatkan
Exo,
kill
again,
point?
going out super early. X-Spark getting those kills are going to give them, I think at the end of this, definitely a first place.
Ya,
depending on
mendapatkan
where the
kill
placements
point
are.
satu
They're
di
still
sini
16
kayak NXL
scores, so you never
Wolfpack.
want to call it too early, but they're
Nice,
positioning
nice.
for what is eventually going to be that next circle. is
Dorna juga
pristine.
bakal menguntungkan
Yeah,
banget
X-Spark
buat
has a fantastic spot. I wouldn't be
Kakoy.
writing their name on the podium just yet. There's so many teams around them.
Tapi di sini
And
tim
with several
NXL Wolfpack
entrances
harus
to that
rotasi.
building, it's not necessarily that easy to hold. And you got to remember, they don't have a caustic. Avril, another team could just push in there. They'll shove the caustic grenade on your face, and all of a
Kayaknya
sudden,
mereka bakal nyoba
you know,
nge-push
you're waving your
rumahnya
hand in front
ini
of
sih,
your nose,
rumahnya
and
tim
just
Kakoy
bouncing
sih,
straight
NXL
out of
Wolfpack.
there. So having early position is good. Having
Karena
a
kalau
caustic
mereka
would be a
nyoba
lot
buat
better.
perangin orang yang
Obviously, the
ada di
last game
supply
they
bin
played,
bawah
they
itu tempatnya
definitely
PK
had,
sekarang
a good
bakal
circle
susah sih,
location, they had
bakal
that high
banyak
ground to play with, so
banyak tim yang bakal
now, as there's a
nge-fokus
lot more
ke
teams
tim
available
NXL
and their
Wolfpack.
position
Jadi
isn't
mau nggak
quite
mau,
as, you know, maybe
buat
secure
nextnya
as a team like
tim NXL
Kakoy,
Wolfpack itu
or maybe even
ngasih
Perihelion.
pressure
So,
lah
you know,
bagi
Xbox
tim
obviously have
Kakoy
a
buat
great
berbagi
position, as I
tempat.
said, because they are within the circle, they have a
Baru
compound.
ngamanin
It's
posisi
about whether
dari
they can
NXL
hold on to that,
Wolfpack.
right? Because you have teams like AMG coming in from the north side, you have Xenomorph with two players coming in from the south side as well. AMG, a team that we kind of talked about where they can make it into these like
What the hell
early
is that
circles
jump pad? Oh
and not
no.
get high placements.
Ternyata orang NXL Wolfpack nyoba buat merangin orang PK.
Alright, we're having a look
Kenok
at-
dua di sini.
At the moment, they're
Dan
pushing
berhasil
out. I think
wipe.
that might be rigged,
PK
that,
berhasil
that
mewipe
they're
tim
having a
NXL
look at.
Wolfpack
They know
dan
actually it's
NXL
gonna
Wolfpack
be,
akan pulang
Strel
di
who are sandwiched
posisi
in between them and Rig.
ke-16.
And we're thinking about having
Banyak bakal tim yang
bits
bakal
of
mati di
noise
sini
from
guys.
the Reignite lads in a second as we see them try and deal with
Template
all of these
crack di
teams who are
sini,
pushing in.
Selnya.
Alright, let's listen to them right now.
ATH bakal merangin.
No, we can't. Let's go outside. Come.
One shot on Octane.
Come.
Yeah.
Penok di ring.
We get inside.
They're in the open in front of us. Shoot, turn around and shoot. I'm 1 HP, I'm healing.
They're flash. One flash. I'm batting.
Yeah, can we take inside a bit? Just think.
Yeah, I think so. We can. I have Posticle. That one tested. Well, I'm mostly dead. Mostly full dead. Yeah, okay, I'm going in.
Okay, we're chilling.
I'm healing. I'm popping.
Can we look for them?
Yeah. One of them is full dead. Zero.
Can't see
One
it,
of them
I
is
can't
full
see
dead.
it.
Most of is full dead.
Okay. We need to pick down Snake, I think.
Yeah, I'm peeking.
Cracked!
Are we going?
He's 1 HP.
Posticle.
Just walk up a bit.
On the Dead.
What the hell is
Go,
that?
Go, on the door.
Chill. Hard fucking chill. I need that loot. I need that loot badly, guys.
Okay,
Go
loot.
loot.
Let's
go out the other way. I have OTXL, Jen. Do you need it? I need bats. I'll drop one bat. OTXL. I can hold that.
They do it at the end, no?
So there it is. Let's reignite in a very intense duel initially against Ath, with Tsurusama being the only one
Tersisa
alive.
dua tim Indonesia yang masih hidup, Kakoy dan juga PK.
As well, eventually entering the compound. That was where Perihelion was still hanging out. And now potentially in a duel
Dan
against
harusnya
Red as well. So it
Kakoy
doesn't end for reignite. They're struggling
aman
to get
banget.
some more resources in this. You can hear them saying,
Buat
I
Lazon
need
juga.
I need to loot.
Oh no, and they've got Rage
Whoa,
on their backside,
nice.
but someone's actually
Long
placed a
bomb shot
portal in
dari
the door
NOBAR.
that they need to get out. Will they actually have time to try and push through that door, Avril, or is this actually are they just gonna have to take the portal and see where it goes, because it's literally their only way to get out? you know, a portal can stick there for 30 seconds or more. Finally,
Running out, I
okay,
think.
it's gone. They do have time, but
Tapi di push di sini
this has made
rumahnya
it really
Kakoy.
tough for them as they have to push into this building held by another
Akankah
team.
Kakoy bisa
There's
menahan
maybe 2 or 3 in there, I think. Rage
gempuran
actually
dari
on the
tim Rick?
outside, and this is the one that Primus Commander are right on the side. So wow, that was a little bit dicey there for Reignite for a second, but they have managed to make it through.
Oh my
into
God,
the fifth
DNZ
circle.
bermain
I
di
mean,
tempat yang
Reignited,
tidak
they're
seharusnya
inside
diperbolehkan
so many
ya.
of the teams currently, the circle's closing down on what is 10 squads remaining right now. Multiple of them are hurt. They're low. Some of them don't have their
PK
full squads
knock
alive
satu
right
di
now.
sini.
Kakoy have everybody, but they got to heal
Berhasil
up, man.
mengonokan
We're
tim
into the
Red
final
juga.
round and just
Berhasil
before
mewipe
the
tim
second, we
Red.
have these
Masih hidup di sini tim
Oh.
PK.
all die.
Primus Commander gets a really close win outside and somehow might actually be getting the reses off as well. They took down Rage, but as soon as Strafing Flame brings someone back up, you can see Kakoy is on the other side of them and
Bastian berhasil
destroying
ngelokin
them.
tim
So
PK di
with
sini.
only Strafing Flame left alive, that couple of kills is all he's going to have to write home about. 6 squads left now. Golden Sage also in
PK
a
harus
spot of
pulang
bomb.
ke
Pretty much
lobby.
every team outside is struggling in a big way.
Tersisa tim
Yeah,
Kakoy
I mean,
dari tim Indo yang masih hidup.
3 members alive currently. Templex took a bit of damage there. It's Golden Sage on
Tapi
one,
mereka
like I
harus
sort of
perangin orang Rick
mentioned.
dulu
It's
karena
just
orang
low
Rick itu
numbers.
bakal
6 squads
nyoba
remaining. The circle will be closing
ngepres mereka.
very, very soon. They've got about 7 seconds left now.
Wah anjir,
to
by
play
dead
through.
boxnya gila.
You're in a situation where X-Pac, who won a last game, are still looking pretty healthy and fresh. They managed to survive against everybody, including AMG, who are above them. Looking for another top placement here. This could get really dicey for our final teams. DNZ as well towards the southern side. Red still alive even.
The NZ on the top side, they're going to have to walk in. We're having a look at X-Spark here on the western edge. They are going to be worrying about Rig, who are just going to be popping out in and out of this building. You know, they've got the choice. They've got some cover to use, and they're probably gonna just keep going into the elbow of the banana.
Posisi yang tidak bagus dari tim X-Spark.
Very, very central
Knock satu
in,
di sini tim
in this
X-Spark.
final circle as it does start to push in.
Oh, tapi nampaknya
Reignite
tim
currently outside
Rick
of the compound.
main
Go
di
ahead and
luar,
take a look at what they're
tidak
doing.
main di
Let's
dalam.
listen again.
Okay, just gonna go in the corner. I need to wait for bug. I'm just looking under, okay?
Tapi belum wipe di sini tim X-Pac masih bisa bertahan.
On the roof, they're getting farmed on the roof.
Tapi wipe juga tersisa 3 tim terakhir Kakoy.
I re-knocked.
Oh my God, what the hell?
One, I'm chilling. I'm killing. The bubble. You need bubble. I'm healing. One dead. One alive. All dead.
Oh my God, that's not good for Kakoy. Kakoy pulang ke lobby, tersisa Rick dan juga tim DNZ.
No, three. It's the last team.
Oh, DNZ nampaknya.
What they
Tim DNZ berhasil
DNZ
mengambilkan
are gonna end up
champion
being
di
champions.
game
I mean,
kelima
Reignite
dan
came
tim
so
Kakoy
close
nice
to
try
survive for so long.
berada
They got
di
some decent kills in
placement
there. Skirmishes
ketiga.
against Ath, Red, and towards the end there, 2 more teams, Kakoy rather, finishing in the top 3 in that
Ini kenapa ya mereka ngambil atas rumah?
Only DNZ in their way, but it was really just Reignite and DNZ way at the end of the day, with DNZ taking out game number 5.
Yeah, DNZ there. They were on the high ground and they just sort of walked in as that final circle closed and that
Nice try lah buat tim Kakoy. Kita lihat leaderboard ya guys ya. Harusnya udah update. Tim X-Pac berhasil mencuri peringkat pertama. Setelah tadi EXO Tusun dan juga Sutoraiku Tusun. Dan Kakoy juga berhasil menyusul di peringkat keempat leaderboard. Masih bisa ngejar lagi buat tim Kakoy. Masih sangat bisa buat mengejar. Tapi ini harusnya last game. Bakal berat buat tim Kakoy buat ngambil placement pertama. Kecuali mereka benar-benar nyayur di last game ini. Dan tim X-Pac itu Tusun duluan. Kita lihat PK berhasil ke placement 8 leaderboard dengan 34 poin. Dan juga NXL Wolfpack di peringkat 19 dengan 3 poin. Kayaknya minggu kali ini benar-benar bukan lagi minggu bagi NXL Wolfpack. Dan habis ini bakal menjadi last game buat minggu ini untuk grup A dan grup B. Dan nanti jam 3 sore itu bakal dilanjutin untuk grup C dan D yang main. Dan itu ada tim Indo dari WGG dan juga Reckless Lats. Alright, nice try buat tim Indo. Ya, still bad day for NXL, but nice try for them. Masih ada last game guys, masih ada last game. Kalaupun misalnya NXL Wolfpack itu champion dan dapat 10 poin kill lagi, kayak yang aku bilang tadi sebelumnya, champion 10 kill poin, 22 poin tambah 3 poin, 25 poin, mereka cuma bisa masuk ke leaderboard 11. Belum juga bisa masuk ke apa namanya? Top 10. Danan nobar nggak antar? Nggak tahu dah kalau itu, kurang tahu. Soalnya yang ini aja Bang Danan nggak nobar. Masih ada kesempatan buat Wolfpack buat naik ke atas, cuy. Masih ada. Masih tersisa 4 minggu lagi. Santai. Tapi harusnya buat ke sisa week-nya itu Wolfpack harus benar-benar try hard sih kalau memang misalnya mau masuk ke top 5 untuk ngambil slot ke playoff. Di 4 minggu terakhir ini mereka harus ada di bisa dibilang top 5 lah mungkin. Yo, halo Garin. Itu ada Discord-nya sendiri Kak ALGS. Untuk Pro League harusnya ada Discord-nya sendiri. Cuman untuk secara general itu mereka ada juga ini untuk sekedar memberitahu kayak announcement terus ada problem atau apa gitu dari grup-grup yang lain. Tapi untuk Pro League kayaknya mereka ada Discord tersendiri lagi dan aku itu nggak punya. Dan hanya itu dan itu grup apa namanya Discord itu cuma untuk tim-tim yang lolos ke Pro League doang.
Bagus.
Yang diambil 10 besar kan? Enggak, yang diambil 5 besar buat ke playoff atau turnamen LAN. Setelah 6 week berlangsung. Tanyain Bang Yo, tanyain apa tuh? Nggak bisa cuy. Inverter dikasih alternator auto hilang musuh. Kekuatan ini anjing apa namanya? Controller. Yang diambil buat ke playoff itu ini ya aku bikin lagi dia. Setelah Pro League Split 1 ini main 6 week, 6 minggu, yang diambil itu cuman sampai 5 doang untuk APAC South, untuk region kita. Nah, slot ke playoff ini adalah turnamen ALGS juga, cuman sistemnya itu LAN offline, jadi seluruh dunia itu bakal bertanding lagi. Nah, slot untuk APAC South itu cuma 5 dikasihnya. Nah, setelah mereka main 6 minggu, itu nanti poinnya siapa yang paling banyak dari antara grup A, grup B, grup C, grup D yang berhasil menempatkan nanti di posisi ke 1 sampai 5. Playoff nih turnamennya offline dan hadiahnya itu ini. Dari juara 1 sampai 40 itu mendapatkan duit dan turnamennya offline seluruh dunia. Tempatnya di mana belum tahu. At least ini bakal offline karena tipenya offline. Beda sama yang Pro League sekarang tipenya online. Begitu. Ke Amerika berarti? Belum tahu. Belum tahu, belum orang ALGS-nya belum tahu, belum nempatin di mana turnamen LAN-nya itu atau offline-nya itu bakal berlangsung. Bisa jadi di Amerika, bisa jadi di Jepang, bisa jadi di Berlin, kayak yang invitation tahun lalu. Bukan Berlin dan Poland maksudku. Kayak invitation yang tahun lalu. Belum ditetapkan sama orang ALGS ya. Sekarang nggak ada playoff APAC South. Nah, itu kalau itu nggak tahu dah. Itu kayaknya di lain lagi tuh, kayak di Challenger Circuit. Kan ada tuh ALGS Challenger Circuit. Itu beda sama Pro League.
Oi. Blok orang udangkeun we. Lebay memek.
Bang Nan.
Ada
yang nanya, kau ada nobar nggak nanti buat Pro League jam 3 sore?
Atau seru nggak sih?
Yang seru sih, yang jam sekarang sih, yang lagi mainin di sekarang yang seru.
Ini sih bagus, Mang Memek gak dibangunin.
Ya guys ya, jadi belum tahu.
Anjing aing dari mamane ke rumah aing.
Apa?
Yuk bisa buat tim
Hampir
Indo.
sejam setengah.
Nah, macet, Bil.
Nggak macet anjing, tolol Gojeknya.
Kenapa muter-muter?
Malah lewat Soekarno-Hatta anjing.
Kita bakal nunggu
Si
beberapa
Hal lagi
menit
nontonin
lagi.
APAC tahu. Yuk.
Oh ya? Dari game pertama kah? Oh iya, APAC South, ALGS Pro League, week 2 watch party. Iya anjing. Bagus lah kalau gitu. Paling dimaki-maki dia. What the fuck is this region?
Iya emang tadi ngomong gitu goblok.
Iya kah?
Iya, dia
ngomong
horrible, apalah artinya tuh aja. Soalnya metanya ada yang pakai loba. Terus spot-spot yang biasa ditempatin, yang bagus tuh nggak ditempatin gitu.
Oh, dia bilang gitu. What the fuck is this region? Udah pasti anjing, pasti terus chatnya tuh, ya, APAC South is the horrible region. Disgusting, what the hell? Belum aja jumpa nanti waktu playoff. Kita lihat waktu LAN. Nanti jam 3 yang main siapa aja yang Indo yo. Itu ada tim WGG, timnya si Maxius, Misanthropy sama Bang Jago. Terus ada timnya Reckless Lats, timnya si Bam Bim Boom, Ailisius sama Galkobar. Nanti itu mereka main di jam 3 sore nanti. Dan aku nggak bakal ngenobarin karena aku ada kerjaan. Jadi nggak bisa, aku cuma bisa nobarin di grup yang ini aja. Jadi habis last game ini kita bakal off stream. Dan kalau kalian mau nonton yang selanjutnya, grup yang selanjutnya ada mau nonton mau ngedukung tim Indo yang bertanding nanti, itu bisa ke Twitch ke si Longshot. Dia bakal ngecasterin buat grup yang selanjutnya. APAC South Oh ya kah si Hal tadi bilang APAC South itu gold player kah?
Tahu. Saya baru bangun.
APAC South dibilang gold player sama NA Bang. Ya, kita nggak tahu cuy. Mereka belum jumpa waktu di offline. Santai aja. Kalau masalah otak buat rotasi oke lah NA. Tapi kalau masalah team fight aku masih megang APAC South cuy. APAC South tuh timnya kuat-kuat kalau masalah team fight. Atau apalagi kalau misalnya masalah defensif, masalah ofensif, masalah retake tempat. Nah itu nggak bisa disepelein dari APAC South cuy. Mereka tuh cuma bisa ngambil tanggapan dari kebanyakan orang doang. pemikirannya nge-stuck di situ aja, player-player apa ya, penonton-penonton juga dan juga player-player orang luar tuh. Nanti pembuktiannya waktu LAN. Kita lihat. Teracok Kilopos Muedin. Cuman berbeda 5 poin ya, tim X-Pac sama tim Rick. Gak boleh tuh.
Tim Siki gimana, Gus?
Apa?
Tim Siki gimana?
Bad day lagi.
Sama kayak kemarin.
Sama kayak kemarin.
Oh, shit.
Timnya Bel tuh bagus.
Ya, sayang banget gak live. Bagus kontol bener-bener.
Ntar malam live Bang Yo. Kalau itu belum tahu. Belum tahu Ariza. Jadi mungkin kalau misalnya aku live nanti juga bakal ada kok di notifikasi YouTube
Ke-1
kalian.
timnya Bel sekarang kan?
Satu.
Iya, ke-1.
Iya.
Beda 5 poin sama Rick.
Memek lah, bagus anjing. Kalau main ke sebelah dulu bentar.
Oke. Belum tahu aku bakal live nanti malam apa enggak karena aku ada kerjaan, guys. WePack please berapa? Mereka ada di place ke-19. Oke, last game guys, kita nonton
Lava Siphon with the hot zone
last game untuk
see
grup
us off.
A dan grup B. Aku kamar mandi
You
bentar
know,
ya.
Gold Sage, they're still going for it after all this time.
I respect the tenacity. Respect it.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta love the fact that they're still trading. That said, you know, they've decided to split it a little bit more evenly. One of them actually picking up a charge rifle and just having a cheeky poke it over at Golden Sage from the side of Kokoi. So, you know, maybe it's the last game. Maybe they don't want to play this one quite so safely. And Easy Flash is actually being caught off here. And I feel like Golden Sage, they've understood this. He's been completely separated from his team. Bastion, Doom, they're on the northern side. And the Octane, exactly the kind of character you want to be chasing Easy Flash down. That said, he's got the vertical mobility, and he will just squeeze out with some blue armor on his side. But they're in the building. They're right behind him, and the Octane on his back. Actually, it's the Juby, sorry, and Azu will finish him off. So, finally, Golden Sage getting the better of Kokoi in Game 6.
Well, that's rough for Kokoi, man, because Kokoi have had so many good placements. We got a 9-second, 7th, 14th, not so great, and then a 3rd in our last game. And Kokoi's one of those teams that are kind of trying to vie for one of our top spots. They have a really decent amount of points collected over the day, and they're going to have to start with only 2 members now. And we talk about Golden Sage. They've been contesting Lava Siphon, and honestly, when you look at the placements they've had over the course of the last 5 games, it's been an improvement. Their last 2 games in a row, they have placed 5th place with the reasonable amount of KP. They're probably not winning or anywhere close to winning today as far as the 20.
Weh, udah dapat 1 kill aja nih tim GS. Siapa yang mati cuy?
Yeah, it's pretty tough with some of the other spectacular talents you have here in Group A and B, Avril. And some of those are going to be, you know, EXO and Striker, as we talked about a lot. And that is exactly who this ring is going to favor. It's a hard pull down into Thermal Station. And potentially this is going to allow Striker to play, you know, really far back and have a very safe early game. As we've seen, they like that, you know, but do they need a big KP game, Avril, if they want to catapult themselves right to the top? Not necessarily their style, but maybe they need to push out of their comfort zone a little bit to try and make that jump up the leaderboard.
I think that's the type of game as well where you remember back in Game 4 where we had similar circles landing towards Thermal, good early positioning for Sudoraiku, but kind of then got outpositioned, the circle moved away from them, and then Xspark ended up winning that game. I think a team like Sudoroku does want to run it back. They say, give us that moment back. Let's go back in time, jump in that time machine, play it again, and maybe they could have done something different. So perhaps in the final game of today, they're going to get that run back question. They're going to need it because down in 6th place, they're gunning for number 1.
Muammar yang mati ya?
This has to be a good game for
Oh,
them.
berarti Muammar yang di-kill sama tim GS tadi ya? Oh my god,
the
that's
way
not
that
good
they've
for
moved here
Kakoi,
gives you a
boy.
very clear indication of where they think this circle is heading. You know, with first choice in starting off, dropping in thermal station. You know, you would have seen them take those northern buildings, which are currently occupied by We Are Trash, if they thought the circle was pulling towards there. But look, why don't we hold off on that a second? It looks like Evo Berserker is under fire right now.
Yeah, that's Madness M2 rather. Right on top of the Method to Madness. In a bit of a hot jaw here. This could be our first team eliminated. Method Madness, obviously, they did win a game just a little bit earlier today, and they would not want to go down too early. Low Key, who was a surviving rat from the previous game, he's like the first one down now. Evo Berserkers, speaking of which, down to only one. It's just only refills. That might be it. If he can't get back up alive, there's no res. He's going to get cleaned up.
All up to Banter Storm now, just trying to take down, or trying to trigger these caustic traps to try and see if he can just buy himself a little bit of space. And you can see the other caustic not having to worry too much about that gas. And the Eva shot is going to come out to finish that off. Banter Storm, the hero of the day there for Method to Madness. They're still way outside of the ring, Avril. And, you know, they've got a couple of minutes to get back inside there. But they're definitely not going to be having pride of place once they finally do make it down towards Thermal Station.
Saw a gold bag there as well. It's been put onto Banter Storm. He probably already had it to start with. So going to be a quick res, get that health back into action. Still got a bit of time, like you said, before the circle actually closes in. But that was a death match. It was either going to be M2 or Evo Berserkers.
Coba bayangin aja guys, kalau misalnya Gibi kan kalau ada bubble dia ngeresnya beda kan, lebih cepat kan, ngangkatnya juga beda. Bayangin kalau Caustic, ngeresnya itu hampir sama kayak Gibi. Cuma bedanya Caustic itu dia ngelempar gas, hidupin gas, terus ngeresnya itu kayak Gibi kalau ada bubble. Keren aja.
Yeah, Knight's a precarious spot.
Kalau Gibi sama Caustic bisa ngeres kayak gitu.
Have a good game, maybe.
Kalau Caustic bisa ngeres kayak Gibi juga.
We're having a look at Pavlova, who are on and
kayaknya di camp betul-betul di camp ya GS bangsatnya.
Lava Siphon, obviously where they started out, but it's Xenomorph that they're trying to duel with now. You can see this fight is going to be happening underneath the control room of Lava Siphon.
So things are getting pretty hot and heavy, you know, obviously over towards Thermal, but like you said, Lava Siphon as well. It's where Golden Sage have been contesting the entire day.
Kakoi masih ada hidup 2. Kasihan sama
rotate even further towards the western side of that map.
Kita nggak tahu Muammar bisa diambil bannernya apa enggak dan berhasil di-res apa enggak, kita nggak tahu. Kalau bisa berhasil di-res sih bagus sih. Karena paling penting di metanya mereka itu di Valkyrie ya, di Muammar ya, buat rotasi.
Below Golden Sage, just there. They have been spotted out, but luckily they are playing the caustic, so they'll just play behind their barrels. The doors are shut unless they really want to sit there and kick them down or waste some grenades. Doesn't seem like a good idea this early on. They're just going to be on their merry way. Xenomorph, who have stuck around Lava Siphon, you know, maybe perhaps even a little bit too long now, feeling the wrath of Rage, who are behind them. Meanwhile, probably a more important fight here is going to be Reignite, who are taking on We Are Trash just above Thermal Station. They've already managed to take down Rudine. Savior here is actually going to make a portal to try and get out. I think they've probably bitten off more than they can chew, and XYZ is going to take that into safety as they get chased out by the bullets of Reignite.
They have lost Rudine though, so that's going to be one player down. Banner does not look really recoverable at this stage. Reignite also look like they're respecting it, not going to chase any further forward. So they've kicked out Weird Trash from that compound. Weird Trash, by the way, a team that in our last game kind of valked into Geyser and got cleaned up almost immediately by Xbox. So they don't want to be in another fight where they're going to get eliminated too early. They don't want to be the 19th place team, trying to play a little bit harder for placements, realize they couldn't win the fight versus Reignite, and are going to go heavier and deeper over towards the middle of Thermal Station, where there's like 2 teams, plus EXO a little bit further to the west, and then Sudoraiku even further to the west of that.
Yeah, now Straiku, you know, they didn't go for those back buildings, Avril. They seem to have read this as a circle that might end up somewhere more towards the middle, right? They had their option to go down there immediately, but instead they let Estrel and they let Aftermath Gaming get further back in there. EXO closer to the middle there. You can see they've
NXL berhasil nahan di tengah-tengah zone, di tengah-tengah thermal, dan di bawahnya ada tim Xpark.
Tower, where there of course is Xpark sitting underneath it, and then Wolfpack sitting up on top with a gold longbow.
Ath as well on the outskirts. I mean, this has been pretty standard for them today. Outside of the first game, Gina, where basically the circle landed.
By the way, ini last game ya guys ya.
Countdown, which is
last game buat grup ini.
They start. They've had to make some long rotations, quite slow as well, as Method Madness down to only 1 member. They look like they're about to be knocked out, so they survived up against the very first skirmish they
Bastian
had.
berhasil mendapatkan kill point di sini, walaupun hanya cuma berdua.
Will go and be limited in 19th place. Down to Kakoi, who I think are another team that you really
berhasil mengonokan satu di sini.
Well
Bastian
knock
2.
Oh my! Get a couple more. They're cleaning up some more KP.
They almost just want a 2v3, Avril. Xenomorph finicky, and I can only noob get dropped by the duo left alive of Kakoi.
Oh no, PK di sini berhasil pulang ke lobby duluan dengan posisi 18.
Getting away with his life. So not only do they clean up Method to Madness, but Kakoi also scare off Xenomorph. So, man, that could have been it could have easily been an early exit there from Kakoi, but holding strong for the moment. And unfortunately, they never managed to grab Easy Flash's banner, so they don't even have the chance to bring him back in, because they've certainly got the space to do it around Harvester. That said, there's teams like Golden Sage looking around there. But, you know, we're also having a look at Athame here. They're on top of Pavlova. They've already grabbed Jolus, and Vass and Inko now have had to completely split just to try and hope that maybe one of them can get away from the prying eyes of Mitsuru Sama, who not only has, this time it's the longbow, but, oh man, grabbing shots mid, guys.
Oh my god.
3 in a row while Inko is on the gut. That's just disastrous for them, and it's just sick shooting there by Nut.
I mean, you're saying Pavlova had to split up here in a ton of trouble. Vast, by the way, on 1 HP. So a couple of shots was not landing on the Octane player.
Oh, nice. Di sini Bastian mendapatkan orang terakhir dari player Xenomorph. Berarti bisa ditotalin mereka dapat 4 kill point.
Down to now only Vast. I feel like we've seen this before, Gina. You know, Vast, the solo rat on Pavlova, just trying to survive as long as possible. It's happened again.
Yeah, it's you know, sometimes it's the Wraith, very often, I guess. Also, if you're playing Octane, it can be the Octane, right? Because they're one of the ones that can just get out of dodge when it comes down to it. Oh, man. Not 1, 2. Sure, he misses the 3rd, but 3 out of 4 ain't bad, Avril.
The one on that last one in mid-air onto Inko was unbelievable. So Ath, they're not playing. They're not here to play around. They're looking for some mad KP, some good wins here. Currently sitting on 7th place and 40 points. They're 20 behind Xpark. They would have to, you know, Xpark would have to be pretty eliminated early, and you'd have to have a ton of KP for Ath to kind of catch up and claim number 1. But maybe a top 3 finish for Ath if they can get in position here. Coming in for, again, a late rotation. That's just been how Ath have been playing all day over the north side of Reignite. So Reignite might be the gatekeepers here for Ath if they get into a bit of a skirmish.
Okay, well, we've got the crypto drone going out from Xpark. He's actually trying to wend his way around as... Oh, yep, we actually see some teams eliminated there as well. That's we are trashed down to 2. Quite a few teams taking casualties early on in the piece here.
I think Perihelion are gone as well, so that was the real J train as the last surviving member of that. We've got a lot of members now on the remaining teams inside Thermal, just contesting all sorts of spots. Reignite's even just moving in.
Kena stuck di sini.
So one of these 2 teams could
oh
be
my
early.
god.
They would not want that 0 on critical HP. Has to Phoenix up. The domes are out. The gases are up as well. take some time, take a breather. They gotta heal up. EXO probably doing the same thing right now, but they're still at each other's throats.
Fucked up di sini posisi dari Rick.
It is just the two teams for the moment. Striku looking on from the west side. You know, maybe it would be a good idea for them to come in third party this and secure themselves supremacy when looking to push up the leaderboard. But yeah, certainly two titans of the lobby now going to be right next to each other. Neighbors for the moment. You can see gas
not
bottles.
Good neighbors.
Yeah, no, it's the kind that, you know, making noise through all hours of the night. Yeah, you're not inviting these guys over for dinner.
Good as well, potentially in a bit of a scrim move with GS in a hot second, but back over towards
knock dua di sini.
We highlighted the stats a little bit earlier on. It was
Rata dari tim Rick berhasil pulang ke lobby dengan placement ke-15.
If they manage to take them out,
They have. They're absolutely out of this, so that does not look like Rig will be taking the victory for the second week in a row here. I'm sure
Terkena Kraber nampak ya.
Towards the top there, but EXO with a decisive move. They tried to lock them in. They kick out their own door and then just move right on up. Dexter, of course, once again being the point man. I could be wrong. I feel like it used to be Killerpos actually who was on the Caustic all that time ago, but they switched things up just because of how differently this composition plays out. But EXO have given
Big Z di sini berhasil mendapatkan knock dan berhasil mendapat masih ke knock, belum dapatkan kill point.
I mean, if we're thinking about
apakah
where
bisa
they were
hitters?
sitting at the end of this game,
Berhasil
they were
menokkan
in
satu lagi
third
dari Big
spot
Z
with 14
menggunakan longbow.
behind X-Spark sitting on 46 points. Now
Perlahan-lahan tim
definitely
Axel
get above
Wolfpack
Rig if they have a
mengumpulkan
good
kill
game.
point mereka.
Well, both of them are likely to finish above Rig now because we're looking at a situation where I think X-Spark, seeing the kill feed pop up, they realize that Rig's been eliminated. They are absolutely smiling about that one. EXO, I mean, it's a titanic clash. It's like one of those teams had to win, the other one had to go out.
Well, spectacular calls here on behalf of Bullet. And, you know, we could have predicted this circle, right? Because we saw Striku move there so early, Avril. And this is exactly why. They've got the Dorito house that they want on that western side of Thermal Station. And
Torico di sini berhasil mendapatkan God spot untuk Lazon.
Get the benefit
Maybe.
of that. Ath, who moved into the north side compound.
Lazonnya kayak bakal di bawah sini.
The winners of our last game. So Torico, I did say at the start of the look.
Atau bisa jadi di atas.
A very similar situation they had when the circle was pulling over towards Thermal, and they're gonna get that.
Tapi bakal banyak tim dari Thermal nih bakal mati sih. Semoga aja tim NXL Wolfpack berhasil survive. Dan tim Kakoi berada di sisi kiri.
Might want to challenge for their positioning, and that's happened before.
Bakal hard
well,
rotasi bagi mereka.
Of the entire lobby right now, as you can see, EXO, we've got Striku there, Athame, all in good
Lazon tuh bakal
spots.
di sini,
below
di bawah
top
sini.
of the tower, that's NXL Wolfpack.
Atau nggak di atas sini.
X-Spark there, sitting on the main pylon of Thermal Station. They're going to be happy for at least one circle longer. Teams like DNZ and Rage trying to find their way in now. Will Rage meet the same fate? I mean, gosh, if Rig couldn't hold out EXO in that position below the circle, the dome house,
dua orang
certainly might be struggling to do the same.
Crack coming through from Twizzy there, and you know, NXL is another team that we've been talking about who have just not had any success today. They probably played their best game just previously, but it doesn't give them enough points to get too far. They've only got one
Apakah berhasil
point
mendapatkan kill point di sini, Twizzy?
So anything they can get just to save a bit of face. Some damage being thrown across the board.
Hampir mengenokkan satu. Dan berhasil dikenokkan oleh Big Z di sini.
Movements coming through. You actually have, by the way, Strawberry Jam potentially looking to contest just a hot minute with Ath. Now fight with
mendapatkan satu kill point dari NXL Wolfpack. Perlahan-pelan mengumpulkan poin mereka. Buat NXL Wolfpack, nice.
Strawberry Jam, they're not in a good place right now. I think they maybe Valcolted and got.
Tapi mereka harus ingat, mereka harus rotasi. Di sini nggak bagus buat Kakoi.
Damage on the way through. They don't even have time. Do they even have meds? I mean, they don't seem to be healing up at all. Strawberry Jam in all sorts of trouble. And you can see the Kraber of Bullet here.
Doom MVP berhasil mengenokkan satu sih, tapi dia kenok juga.
You can probably hit them with a P20
Tersisa Bastian sendiri berarti.
As well. He is going to stick on the other side though.
Estrella are probably out of this one right now. Yep, they've been eliminated for sure. Courtesy of
mengenokkan satu lagi dari Big Z.
Who have just gotten themselves in a phenomenal position as we look at the final circle now.
Seperti dicoba buat
game-winning spot for Sudaraiko. Could they be the winners of our first and also last game of the day
Wolfpack berhasil mengonorkan satu dari tim
9
EX.
squads left to go. Top 10 has been confirmed, but only about 3 to 4 squads.
Di finisher di sini. Mungkin karena udah nggak ada battery lagi dari Twizy.
Spark, we've got to remember they started this game on the top of the ladder. NXL Wolfpack have finally moved down from their vantage point up on the top of Thermal Station.
Kehilangan satu player. Kehilangan satu player dari tim X-Spark. Tersisa Belkun dan juga Salvatores di sini untuk tim X-Spark.
And in trying to make that rotation, they've lost Fat Monster and Bell and Salvatores in a rough spot. Does this mean maybe EXO, coming into this in second spot, are going to be the ones to finish up with the 12 points at the end of this 6-match series?
Well, it depends on what their fight looks like against Red currently, who are very close by. For the time being, Team X-Spark just need to survive. They are so far away from where the fight was, so far away in context.
Coba ulti Valkyrie di sini tim NXL Wolfpack. Oh, zonanya bakal di bawah sini kan.
On a Valking team. That Valking team might just be NXL, who are trying to go onto the outskirts. They see all the last teams in this 8 squad now remaining. Circle dropping on top of a few.
Apakah tim NXL Wolfpack berhasil mendapatkan spot?
They're on the bottom ground of this building, Avril, and they've been just
dikenokkan satu di sini, Bang Iki kenok oleh Bastian. Berhasil di finish.
Too many teams coming in to
tersisa 2 orang
this next circle
oleh
pool
NXL
is probably
Wolfpack.
going to determine who's going to come off
Big
better
Z
out
dan
of
juga
EXO
Twizy.
and Straiku. And of course, it's just going to pull towards the middle.
Big
So they'll
Z
have a little
kenok
bit of cover.
oleh gas
EXO will
caustic.
have cover for
Oh my
longer
god, this
and
is not
probably the
good.
high ground for there. So really,
Belkun juga kenok.
it's going to come down to
Tersisa
how many
Salvatore
teams
sendirian.
are on each side, who starts griefing who first. It's going to be really
Apakah bisa di-rest dari Big Z di sini? Harusnya bisa. Tersisa Salvatore sendirian. Belkun sudah di finish.
He might just be able to get revived, so they can still play with 2. The circle is closing on top of them. The damage be enough to
Berhasil
knock
di
them
revive di sini
again.
Big Z. Salvatore harus wipe dan tim X-Spark harus puas dengan di posisi ke-7.
I mean, there's still a big fight happening over towards that left side
Di
compound.
game terakhir ini masih
NXL
bertahan
also
NXL
with
Wolfpack.
Ath on top of who is that? Straiku. Even below that is Kakoi, who is still holding on to 2 members, down to 6 squads and
Kakoi tersisa sendirian atau sisa berdua di sini. Sampai sisa berdua.
6 squads
Oh my god.
left. EXO still in it. Straiku still in it. The Thame have threatened the scoreboard at some.
Nampaknya tim X-Spark bakal kesusul dari peringkat pertamanya oleh tim EXO atau enggak tim Sutoraiku. Karena tim EXO yang di peringkat kedua leaderboard masih hidup dan harusnya bisa kesusul mengambil peringkat pertama.
EXO just trying to pick up every scrap they can from the building that they're in.
Zonanya bakal ada sedikit di lava. Bakal chaos nih 6 tim.
On the other side of this, sort this out between themselves and just leave them in the top 3. Rage underneath them.
Kita lihat siapa yang bisa berhasil mendapatkan champion di last game kali ini guys untuk grup A dan grup B.
have a decent amount of height to play with there. Got good eyes. Maybe popping some extra damage. Look pretty healthy.
Coba retake dari Red.
I think taking a bit of damage. Might have to pop some extra utility here. I don't know if they have a dome available, trying to trade shots back against
Tapi posisi mereka, oh Twizy di sini berhasil kenok. Tinggal Big Z sendirian. Dari tim NXL Wolfpack. Banyak kali source-nya. NXL Wolfpack harus puas di posisi ke-6.
6 squads. The Dust Rage aren't doing too well.
Oh my god, banyak kali kill feed-nya.
Into the lava right now. It's lava or a Gibraltar ultimate. You take your choice.
Kakoi kayaknya udah mati ya? Ya harusnya udah mati Kakoi. Oh masih ada! Kakoi di peringkat ketiga. Oh harus puas di posisi ketiga dari Kakoi. Dan EXO berhasil mendapatkan champion di last game kali ini guys. Dan bisa dipastikan EXO, Dexter, EXO Chambers dan juga EXO Kilopos berhasil mengambil placement pertama untuk week kali ini dari grup A dan grup B. Nice try buat tim Kakoi yang hanya bermain 2 orang mampu mendapatkan placement ketiga. di last game
With
kali ini.
55 were 9 ahead
GG.
of them. I'd say they probably got
GG,
Rig in the
GG.
bag, but X-Spark 14 points ahead of them. I mean, sure, they take out 12.
Dan bakal kita lihat hasilnya leaderboard apakah sudah update. Ya, sudah update. EXO berhasil mendapatkan posisi mereka di pertama dan disusul oleh tim X-Pac dengan placement kedua untuk minggu kali ini. Rick Knight di posisi ketiga dan Kakoi juga di posisi keempat dengan poin yang sama, hanya butuh 1 poin kill lagi dan Kakoi bisa ada di peringkat ketiga. Sayang kali, sangat disayangkan, tapi nice try buat Kakoi lah, GG. Dan juga untuk tim PK berhasil finish di top 10 leaderboard untuk minggu kali ini. Dan nice try buat Wolfpack berhasil ada di peringkat 19 leaderboard kali ini. Alright, itulah dia guys last gamenya buat grup A dan grup B untuk minggu ini. Nice try buat tim Indo yang udah bertanding untuk grup A dan grup B. Jaro udah bukan EXO berarti ya, udah bukan Servants. Udah lama bukan. Jadi inilah dia peringkat leaderboard buat minggu kedua untuk grup A, grup B. Masih ada 4 minggu lagi buat tim-tim yang bakal mengumpulkan poin. Karena total minggu untuk Pro League split ini adalah 6 minggu. Nanti di jam 3 bentar lagi ada yang main grup C dan grup D. Itu ada 2 tim Indo yang bakal main, tim WGG sama tim Reckless Lats. Bagi kalian yang mau nonton bisa langsung ke Twitch-nya Longshot aja. Karena aku nggak bakal nobarin. Karena aku harus ada kerjaan lagi, mau cabut dulu. Klasemen untuk 40 tim, Bang. Klasemen untuk 40 tim harusnya sih besok baru di update. Ini klasemen untuk 40 tim. Ini yang minggu kali ini belum direkap karena yang grup C sama grup D kan belum main kan. Jadi harusnya besok sih atau enggak nanti malam udah keluar untuk leaderboard yang 40 tim. Untuk sementara tim Rick sih yang ada di peringkat atas. Dan tim Kakoi harusnya juga naik. PK juga naik mungkin. Dan untuk NXL Wolfpack kayaknya harus tetap masih harus berada di bawah. Alright guys, itulah dia tadi nobar kita buat grup A dan grup B di minggu kedua kali ini. Sorry banget aku nggak bisa nobarin yang grup selanjutnya karena aku harus cabut dulu, aku harus makan mandi, aku belum ada makan mandi dari pagi. Aku ada kerjaan juga, jadi aku mengerjain kerjaan aku. Lebih mentingin itu daripada nobar. Mungkin kita bakal ketemu lagi nobar minggu depan di week ketiga. Mungkin, kalau misalnya nggak ada halangan. Atau nggak kita bisa ketemu lagi di stream-stream aku yang bakal aku streamingin kalau misalnya aku stream buat main rank. Jadi yaudah itu dulu guys buat nobar kali ini di minggu kali ini. Aku mau cabut dulu, mau off stream dulu. Bagi kalian sekali lagi yang mau nonton grup selanjutnya bisa ke Twitch-nya Longshot. Makasih banyak semuanya yang udah nonton. Makasih banyak semua yang udah nge-support tim Indo yang hari ini lagi main. Makasih banyak semua yang udah bantu nge-like, ngebantu share juga. Makasih banyak. Sampai jumpa di stream selanjutnya. Bye-bye. Have a nice day and stay safe everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.